where the wrestling truth resides.
It's 9:00. We got Eric Jonson in the background.
Right on the dot.
Right on the dot. Yeah. Yes. So, welcome to a part 2 for Eric Jonson. This is we had so much fun the last one. We had to get him right on. So, ladies and gentlemen, the owner of Ring Wars and former Let's Wrestle champion, Let's Wrestle Tag Team Champions and MEW champion, Eric Jonson.
Good on, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Back again, round 2.
Round 2.
I watched. Well, I watched your. Well, what spawned this is I remember I was watching one of your guys' clips, and I remember it was an IWE clip of something. And you guys were like, "We should have asked him more IWE stuff." I'm like, you guys could just ask me more IWE stuff on a part 2. I'm perfectly okay with it.
Got to dig deep in the trenches.
Yeah,
I was say you had a week to figure out some questions, so I'm sure you have like either an arm length full or like a small notepad full. I'm sure at this point.
Like I didn't want to ask like some like why you sold it and stuff like that because I didn't want to really like.
Oh, I'll ask some brutal questions.
Yeah,
it was years ago. I rather get the information out there. I'm sure a lot of people want to know why I sold it. Like I remember when everybody when I first announced I was selling it, everybody was all excited. It was like, oh, something fresh. And then as soon as it got sold, everybody's like, I wish you still owned it. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like,
it was the process of how it got exchanged over, which was like kind of the silly gimmick of it all. Because you had all of the entire roster sitting in the locker room and then coming out into the area and like talking to who was now going to own it, which it was funny. Just the way that it was.
I'll lay it out there. So I'll tell you what was the reason that made me want to sell it. And then I'll tell you, I'll start there, and I'll go from there. Y'all remember I used to run the Skowhegan Fair shows. Mm-hmm. I was the one that rebuilt that bridge with Walter Height and Stan from Stan's Fries, God rest his soul. Stan from Stan's Fries used to have me, I don't know if you remember this, O'Reilly, but we used to do those birthday parties.
Yeah.
His grandson. Yeah. So we used to do those birthday parties every year for his grandson. He paid us a lot of money to do those, and I'd actually put on a pretty good show for what he paid. And he was like, well, we should get you into the fair. We'd have to sit down with Walter Height, who was the guy who runs the fair. Yeah. He also runs the big car dealerships in Skowhegan.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know
that. He's the owner. So he's the guy. So I had to go with Stan, meet Walter Height, and explain to him. Luckily, I showed him the stuff from when we were on Fox, and I was like, hey, this is what I bring to the table, and this is what we can do, and I'd really like to try it. He's like, okay, well, we'll try it, because that first Skowhegan Fair run, it was a bunch of spot shows. It was like 2 here, 1 here, 2 there, 1 here, 1 there, 2 here. So I filled all the dates with other towns in the state to fill the gap, so we had a full 2-week run of wrestling. But anyhow, after we built it back up, I started running there. I did 3 years worth, and then the third year is what made me decide actually that I wanted to sell IWE, because that third year I wasn't wrestling at the time. I'd just gone through a bunch of surgeries and health issues and was on the mend and getting better shape, feeling good, had all the surgeries done. And I had 16 cancellations that third year for that Skowhegan Fair. We had pretty much 2 weeks of wrestling.
I don't even remember what year.
Paid daily, paid shows.
Right.
2 weeks full of wrestling. I had 16 cancellations.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was you gotta tell me, brother. Like, these are paid shows, so I was paying people. I mean, some days it was obviously was not gonna pay everybody like, hey, you get $1 million for you, $1 million. I was paying people their normal pays, and just because obviously I'm doing the work here, so I'm gonna pay everybody their normal paydays. But it was like 2 weeks straight of wrestling, and I still had this. I was still running the school, so I had plenty of students, but even the students, I had literally, with students included, like 16 cancellations. It was wild. It was just not a good scene. So it got down to the last day, and I'm so happy because I'd skated by with just enough talent every day to have a show, 1 hour show. That's all they wanted. I had enough talent to make it to that last day. That last day had even more cancellations, had 4 more. So I, luckily, as the saying goes, always keep your gear bag in the car. I had my gear bag in the truck. I wrestled 4 times. 1 singles that led to a tag on the first show on the last day of the fair. And then we did a show later that evening where I wrestled 1 time. And then also a battle royal or something like that. So I wrestled 4 times. And I hadn't wrestled in months. And I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, why am I going through this hassle to put on these shows? Because it's not for me. I wasn't even wrestling. I wasn't making a lot of money. I was dumping it right back into the TV. Because we were back on our second run of IWTV at that time.
Yep.
So I don't even know. I was like, why am I even doing this? And then I looked at the list. I have a notebook. I still have one. I usually, when I run shows, I have a notebook where I keep all my stuff in. I just looked at my notebook, saw all the cancellations, and said, why the fuck am I even doing this? And that's what made me want to sell it.
So you didn't know exactly like why there wasn't like maybe like rumors saying like Eric's a bad promoter or something like that, and that's why he canceled.
What I think it came down to, because we still had a lot of shows every month.
Yeah.
So I think I was overworking people. And also I think people got a lot of egos. Also, there's the back end situation around this time. Yeah, I love how Cat's shaking his head.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna say is, JP, if you flip me around one more time, I'm removing you.
Cat's face broke me. He's just like, yep, he's not lying.
Like, yeah, I know some egos.
So many egos, man.
Egos in this business.
So many egos, and I can't believe it because some of these people don't wrestle anywhere. They wrestled for me, and I was just like, Cat's
yeah,
making me, dude. You're making me. Cat's like, yeah,
we know people's like that. Like it's like, oh, I wouldn't do that.
Dude, it was worse back in the day.
No, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of it.
Dude, it was worse back in the day because we had the TV show.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody thought because they're on TV,
yeah,
that they had. I'm like, you realize I could take you off the TV, right? Because I'm the goddamn guy that does the commentary, the editing, everything. I'm the one that brings it to the TV station. I'm the one that knows Mike Palmer and then Palmer that runs the station. Does he still run the station? I don't know.
Last I knew, yes, he does. And
me and him got along. We would talk for like hours about wrestling and stupid shit. But anyway, so that was my reason why I wanted to. I was like, why am I going to get out? Why am I? I literally had notebooks full of contacts, buildings, newspapers, radio stations, certain contacts for certain fundraising groups. I had so much crap. Like I did all this stuff by myself. I had some help at times. Certain people would come in, like a couple times. Sonny would jump back in, start investing in the shows and try to get back in. Primer did one time. He tried investing in shows with me and stuff like we all tried to. A couple people tried to show, and they're just like, it's just so much work, and sometimes there's not enough payoff. And that's literally how I felt at the end of that third run of Sky Egan Fair show. I was like, there's just not enough payoff for this. And you gotta think that took 2 weeks out of my life, like where I was literally drive to Sky Egan, do the show, drive back home, do it again. It just was
driving back home.
Well, yeah. Why am I going to pay for a hotel? Week. I live in Maine. There's no reason why I should be paying for a hotel when I can just drive home. And everyone's like, well, you got to enjoy the fair. I'm like, listen, I hate fairs now because of it. I don't want to do another fair.
Fairs have been ruined. But
like, I literally, Larry Huntley did the Bangor Fair. And obviously, I live close to Bangor. I'm one of the big local guys in the area up here, obviously. So I ended up doing the Bangor Fair show for him. But I was just like, afterwards, I was just like, I remember why I hate doing fair shows. The first show there, the Bangor Fair, was a dreary day, crappy turnout for the crowd. Second day was great that I was there, but like it was just a matter of I'm the same reason. Like, why am I even doing these outdoor shows? Like,
also, what?
I hate days at fairs.
and homeless people.
Yeah. I hate fair days, like you just said, Eric. I hate them when you get there and it's like, so we had one day at Skowhegan, we got there, it was 1,007 degrees. I'm not even
That's the
joking.
reason why I hated it too.
Hot as
I agree.
hell.
I agree.
The sky opened up. It poured down rain for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And then it went to 185,000,000 degrees plus 150% humidity. And I was like, oh my god, now we got to work in this.
It was so bad. Maybe O'Reilly remembers it. It was so bad at the Skowhegan Fair. With the IWE ring, Old Bertha had a vinyl canvas. And we keep water. I had water for the boys, but I also had water to spray on the ring. Usually it was so hot you could have cooked an egg on the vinyl canvas. You could have put an egg on it and seared it and cooked it.
I had literally I took a bump at some point, and I remember laying there.
You could hear the sizzling.
Hear your back sizzling. It was like 3rd degree burn. And
Yeah.
we're not getting compensated enough for this.
Yeah. So on top of that, to talk about the torrential downpour. Well, one day, who was with me? I think Aiden Andrews was with me. Neil was with me, and we were there, and we ended up having to. It's raining, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we're already in there. He rode in the ring truck with me, so it's the only vehicle we had there at the time. So I'm like, all right, well, we're there and it's raining. We're waiting to see if it's going to stop, and it's not. So I asked the fair what they want to do. Like, we're just going to cancel it. No, and we're not turning on the rides. It's going to be a rough day. It's supposed to rain all afternoon. We're like, okay, cool. We go to leave. Well, if y'all remember driving through that little tunnel to get to the other side, it was flooded.
Yep.
And I'm in the ring truck, and me and Neil look at it like they want us to drive through that. And we're up in the ring truck, which the ring van was pretty high off the ground, if you remember. It's a Ford Econoline van. It's a Ford Econoline cargo van. It was pretty good off the ground. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to gun it. We're going to go for it. First off, it's a tight squeeze in there for the cargo van. Okay, scary, and it's flooded. So we're driving, we're like, okay, I'm just going to gun it through and hope we're going to be all right. So we get down there, like, it can't be too bad. We get in there, it's up to the grill. Full on, we hear the water rushing sound. I'm like, I'm gunning it, Neil. Hold on, we're gunning it. It's just tidal waves. We're splitting the sea as we're driving through. And I'm like, oh god, 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 oh god. Like Neil's like gripping his seat, like, oh, we're gonna drown to death in a tunnel. We're gonna drown to death in a tunnel. And we get to the other side, and we hear the water just rushing out of the vehicle. And I just see steam coming up from the hood. I'm like, that's got to be steam. I hope it's not smoke. Please be steam. So we get out, and we were so stressed out, I had to pull over to the side. I'm like, I got to stop.
Had like a crisis.
I stopped for a minute. I'm like, well, let's see if the car's going to break down. I'd rather break down right here. Or by people.
Right.
I mean, it didn't break down. It just was, it finally had stopped steaming, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're good. That's fine. We were like, oh my god, but it was scary. It didn't help too the entire time. Well, Neil's gripping his seat. I was literally singing the Jaws music, dun 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 dun. The entire time he was just like, "You're a fucking dick." I'm like, "Yep." I'm like, "Hey, could be worse. We're gonna break down the middle of this tunnel. A, can't get out the van because we couldn't open the doors all the way because that's how tiny that tunnel was.
Yeah.
And B, we're just gonna drown in here again."
Like, I think I've seen this movie.
It's like, we can try to hold out in the back of the van for air. Try to breathe in the back of the tunnel. Yeah. So anyway, to finish, so what led to that meaning me want to sell it? So I put feelers out there through other promoters and people that had invested with me to see if anybody wanted to buy out. And then everybody was shocked that I wanted to buy out. And I said, well, I'm thinking about it. I'm not really positive, but this is what I'm looking for. And I asked for 10 grand. To sell out everything. Mind you, this is the IWE ring van, Bertha, both cameras, all the tripods, all the sound equipment, the 9 years of hard drives, all the belt bag with all the belts, all the extra belts and belt pieces, all the tools. You don't ask me. I sold all this stuff I sold it to the people that bought it, which was Bomb, and he brought Sonny in. But it was Bomb originally and then Sonny.
Randy has the hard drive.
Randy has the hard drives.
No,
they are
not
password
the
protected. He doesn't know the password, but he has all the hard drives.
Yeah, that's the shitty part. You can't access nothing.
He was also able to access like one or two of them because he did get some footage of them. That's why, like, if you look on the Marine Wrestling Collection page, there's like old IWE matches with Honky Tonk Man and Barbie and stuff up there now. But anyway, the belts. I think this is what I heard just from down the line. So I'll tell you everything I sold first, and then I'll tell you where I think it all went. So Bertha, the ring van, all the cameras and stuff for the cameras, tripods, extra stuff like that. The sound equipment, all the extra cords, all the tools, a second set of ropes for the ring, extra padding for the ring, all the belts, the belt bags, the entranceway, the lights for the entranceway, the special entranceway we only used in Brewer, the big metal one. The nice, cool one. Yeah, the little walkway one. That was cool. They got that. All the banners, logos, website, hard drives, merchandise, they got everything. And then they also got my book of contacts and buildings, everything. They got everything. The only thing they didn't get was my personal items, obviously, that were mine that I took with me, and the one email address. They got the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, they had the website, they had everything. The only thing they didn't get was one email, and that's because it had my personal information on it, and I couldn't give it to them because I'm like, there's no way to, unless I switch this out to somebody else, there's no way to do that without giving you, and then you have my personal information. I don't think so, Tim. So I kept the one email address, which I still use for wrestling to this day, but
found
they
out
got everything.
Bertha's EWA.
Well, that's what now I'm going to get into where everything went. Bertha, when IWE finally folded, which, like I said, I sold it to Bomb. Sonny came in later. I'll explain all of that here in a minute. But to explain where everything went, there was two rings that actually IWE owned because they bought the little tiny, the tiny ring. It's like a 12-footer
sandbox ring. It's 12. It was 12.
It's a kids or the midget wrestling ring.
Yeah, it was
supposed to be a midget wrestling.
That was fun.
It's made for easy it's a training ring or a midget wrestling ring, respectively. They bought that ring because Bertha, they abused Bertha. Bertha, I used to get the welding done from a guy that used to do welding on battleships in the Navy. So this thing, it's going to have stress cracks, and he'd weld it and fix it up. When I gave it to him, immaculate shape. When I gave him the ring van, it had a brand new sticker on it, fully inspected. Everything was done with it. Literally, I introduced Mom to my mechanic because he went to where my mechanic was, and he picked it up one day from my mechanic. I paid to have it all fixed up, a new sticker, everything. So this way he knew he was getting everything fixed. Everything was great. Well, the Bertha got sold originally when Sonny and Bomb got done. Bertha got sold to Cameron Matthews, along with the trailer, because they destroyed the ring van. It died after a year for being abused, even though I had it for 9 years.
Right.
1 year they killed it. Well, they got a trailer for it. They sold the trailer and the ring then to Cameron Matthews. I think also, and the sound equipment. Bomb kept the belts. I think he still got them. I don't know. The smaller midget ring got sold to a company in Canada. Don't know who. Cameron Matthews set that up because he knew somebody who wanted a small little training ring, and he set up the deal, but Bomb sold it. So both the rings are gone. Like I said, the sound equipment, and I think some of the banners actually were in the ring trailer when they sold it to Cameron Matthews. Well, Cameron then sold that ring to EWA. He wanted to get rid of it. He's good at flipping stuff because he knows so many people like I do. He's good at getting rid of stuff, getting it out there. You know what I mean? Is this the midgety ring?
That's the midget ring.
Is this one where Frank Yeager wins the triple championship or whatever that is?
Probably.
I think I was there in the crowd somewhere, or I was running music. I think I ended up running music.
This was.
I remember the first match ever in this ring. The first ever match in that ring was me and Havoc from Canada.
Yeah,
Havoc's a tall dude.
And we had there was a four-way. It was you, me, Dante Dio, and Frank Yeager in a four-way in that ring.
Yeah, but the first ever match in that ring was me and Havoc. And me and Havoc together, I'm like, oh my God, we did a suplex, and I remember I heard the ring bounce off the ground.
Is that the reason corner?
Been
Yeah.
It was insane. There's a couple other.
So I remember you tell me about that because you had to do corner to corner. But to be fair,
Yeah.
Kat and I
With the
worked
ropes.
this 12x12 not too long ago, and
I
it
was
was
just gonna
not
say that.
fun.
There you go.
I was gonna say you definitely get your ring awareness like you to a test with a 12
You
by
have
12
to.
ring.
You're like,
But this is
okay,
great
the
for
ropes
tiny
are over
venues, real small venues. This thing is fantastic. I remember they did a real tiny venue in Skowhegan, right by where the fair was.
Like,
I don't know if y'all remember that, but it fit perfectly in these real tiny venues. You can go off the top rope, everything. It's nice. Problem is, it's not nice for guys like me and Havoc who are big dudes, and we're having the first ever match in the thing. And they're like, "Be careful," and I'm like, "Be careful! I'm a 400-pound dude." And have you seen Havoc? He's good size built, not heavyweight, but he's tall. What do you want?
Yeah.
We did a basic ass suplex, a snap suplex, and his ankles hit the bottom rope. Luckily, he didn't bust them.
Oh yeah, you couldn't do suplex. You could only do suplexes corner to corner. Even then, you were still like
the ring bounced off the ground when we did the suplex.
Yeah,
we thought it was in Fairfield. We thought we were gonna break the tiles on the floor.
Yeah, so imagine that ring inside of a venue like Fairfield, and it's just like a little. It's like we called it the sandbox ring because
how many
so
people?
That's where everything went to circle back to the final deciding to sell it. So I'd put the feelers out, and I had a list of stuff that you were going to get with it, like not a bill of sale, but like a list of what you're getting. Bunch of tire kickers. People were like, "Yeah, no one has exactly had 10 grand laying around."
Yeah.
Well, then I guess Sonny was just chatting it up because Sonny and Baum used to work at a car dealership together.
Yeah.
And Sonny was talking about it because he was one of the people like thinking about it and was like, nah. Baum was heavily into it. He really wanted to buy it because he had a passion for IWE at the time because, he'd been there most of his career. So he wanted to buy it. So he went after one IWE show one day in Brewer. We went over to Jester's where we all went and we were all sitting there drinking, having a good old time. And he
ripped Jester's. I loved that place.
We all did. We all missed the hallway. So we used to call it.
That's where I met my ex-wife.
Jester regulars just call it the hallway. Anyway,
yeah.
It's the size of a hallway. So
it's true.
Baum put his pitch in. He tried to lowball me, and I said, "Dude, but this is a flat price. It's non-negotiable. This is what you're getting." And I showed him the paper, like I'd written everything down. He goes, "Fair enough. Okay, I'm definitely interested. Let me see what I can get together for finances." Because much like a car, he's like, "Would you take a monthly payment and a down payment?" I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, he worked at a car dealership, so you know how the thing works. I made the same deal. I said, "You give me a down payment, I'll let you make payments every month at the end of the wrestling weekend. So literally, you could be making your money from the weekend and pay me if you needed to."
I remember that.
Really? And I'm like, yeah. And I was willing to do that if he had a substantial down payment, which he did. He gave me it was like $2 or $3 grand up front, and then the rest he did over payments, $500 a month. And I had a three payment miss deal, just like with a car. Like if you don't pay your car payment for 3 months, they repo your car.
Yeah.
I would repo the company if he didn't pay me back. So he had 3 strikes.
What would you have done if that happened? Like, because you didn't.
Well, I remember Jason Rumble going, "Eric's gonna get this thing back in like 3 months." Like he was all about it. He used to rib. He was like, "How many times has Bob missed a payment?"
Bob only missed Killer Kowalski School for professional wrestling. We'll go out and we'll get Eric will get it back.
How many payments has he missed? Well, Bob only missed 1 payment, and I said, "Okay, that's 1 strike." And that's after was what it was. He gave me the down payment. I think it was like.
What was it?
This was. Hold on, I could tell you. Give me 2 seconds to disappear. I have the last event that I ever promoted from the wall. I'm gonna tell you. Hold on 1 second. You're right back.
There's a certain point in time where after Eric had been fully paid off, that's when the entire everything quality-wise of the show went right down the drain.
It was October. The official sale went through, I think, in October of 2016. So, because the last show I promoted, I have the poster on the wall, was January of 2017, which was the anniversary weekend.
Yeah.
So, I think it was October of I announced it in September that the tentative owner would be here the next month because we had already had everything in works, and then in October everybody would meet the new owner. October, we finalized the paper like we did at the end of September, into October. Finalized the paperwork, did the down payment, did all that. I brought him to the TV station so they could sign over the account from the TV station to him, the whole nine. Had to have a meeting with Palmer so he could meet him. Sign everything over, move everything around. We signed everything over, and I even said I'd help book and do the street work and the TV editing still for free for the rest of the year. I agreed to do all that stuff for free just to help with the transition. So October, they said technically when the sale went through, but I still help promote the October, November, December, and January date of the next year. That January anniversary show of 2017, which was the 9-year anniversary show, was the official last date I had any involvement with IWE. And I wasn't even financially involved with these shows.
That's so weird.
So October and November were the last dates I was financially involved.
Yeah.
December and January, it was all Bomb by himself, funding it. Like I was still helping do the work, and I'd front money, but he'd pay me it back just to get everything kosher, so I could show him how everything works. Like, here's where you get your graphics from. Here's who Amber was making the posters, so Amber makes the posters. Danger Kid Amber was making the posters. This is where you order them from. This is where you do this. This is where the posters go. Here's where you do this. Here's who does that. Here's who you meet over here at the TV station. This is when the stuff needs to be dropped off at the TV station. All that stuff. And I got him through till January of 2017. And then I said, literally as I'm sitting there making the book, January 2017, he was still asking me questions. I'm like, dude, I've helped you October, November, December, and now January. I'm done after this. I'm just a wrestler now. Like, I'm doing this to be nice to have the transition. I gave you 4 months of transition.
Right.
So, anyway.
And oddly enough, 2017, like, it wasn't that bad of a year at all. It actually was good. It was
well, he got it at the best time, because the best time, and honestly it's the scariest time, but the best time for Maine wrestling is winter, because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
But go indoors. So the only scary part is if you hit a blizzard or something during a weekend.
Right.
Well, January 2017 was the last show I helped book it, help promote it, do the whole deal. It was also one of the first anniversary weekends that there was no name on the show, because every anniversary weekend they used to bring in names.
I'm trying to remember what that was. I was there for it. I just don't remember.
That's when we did the tag thing, where if one of us got pinned, someone lost a belt or something. It was me and I think Moxie versus Ricker and I want to say Limits. I don't quote.
Limits out. The station wasn't formed yet at that point. It was 27. They started like later 2017.
I don't know. I just remember it was a tag match, I believe. So, and this was I was champion around the time when the changeover had happened, when the sale had happened, and I lost the belt and never got a rematch type of deal. And Bomb was trying to pitch his way into the title picture. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Yeah, I do.
So,
Yeah.
and I remember the fans started booing when he tried to do that. The fans started booing about it.
Oh.
I remember even what was his wife's name there? They used to go to the shows all the time. Jody was yelling at him like, "You better not even try to win the title. No one wants you to win the title, John." Like, she used to yell at him about it. Like, people don't want to see you win the title.
She literally used to use his authority figure as a pull for being at shows to just get away with being rude to everyone that was like against her or was rude to her. She was like, "My husband owns the company. That means I own the company." And I was like,
well, here's the thing. Going back to those missed payments, Mom only missed one payment.
Right.
And what happened was he didn't have to pay the rest of the year, because when we part of the deal was when we sold it, he gave me the down payment. I turned everything over to him. I owed a remaining balance at the TV station. He inherited the balance, so that came off the top too. So like there was a bunch. I literally said, "Don't pay me anything this year. We'll start payments in January of 2017 when everything's fully over to him."
Right.
And that's why I kept helping him, because I wanted to make sure he could make the payment. January he made the payment. February he did not. Or it's either January he didn't make the payment, and in February he did. But one of the payments got paid to me by Jody.
Oh,
I don't know if
really?
it was from him or by her. I don't know, but I got the payment and I was like, okay, whatever. I don't care. They're together. They end up getting married down the line. So whatever. Couples are couples. That's how the shit works. I didn't care. Well, then around the second time, 1 month he couldn't afford to pay me for the second time. And I said, that's 2 strikes, Bob. He's like, I know. So going into the month after that, I was waiting in the bar for my payment after the show with everybody else. We're all drinking at Jester's. He goes, can I pay you on Monday? And I said, as long as you pay me by Monday. Yeah, Monday to the latest. I'll give you till Monday. And he goes, okay. And he sent me a text at the payments at City Side. You can pick it up. This was on Monday. I went in there. There's a check from Sonny. And that's when Sonny started buying in. And then later they also brought in Hobo Joe, Joseph Primer.
Yep.
He only missed 2 payments. If he had missed a third one, I would have got the shit back right off the bat.
What was the book? He didn't enjoy
it. So if Mom had missed one more payment, he would have reverted back and he literally just bought the damn thing.
Right.
So he missed a payment. Jody covered one. He missed another payment. And then Bomb covered it. And then since then, it was 3 people involved because Bomb and Sonny were running it. And then they brought Joe in. It was a 3-way split.
Yep.
Between the 3 of them, they were paying me every month. Plus, they drew enough to pay. They just had to stop booking WrestleMania. They booked a lot of dudes. I mean, that's why the wrestling, I'll give it to them. The wrestling, when they first took over, was still great because they had a hell of a huge roster.
Yeah.
And it had depth. They had some depth. They also had squashed some beef and got all of MSP back in full time doing stuff.
2 years, but they managed to make it work. It was about a year and a half.
And they never missed a payment after that. They paid me off. I have no problem with any of them. They made all the payments. They paid me off completely. The only thing I ever had a qualm was I had a deal. It wasn't on paper, but I should have put it on the paper when I sold it. I had a deal with John that I had to work I keep my spot and still work the shows because that's just all I wanted to do at the point. Was
you made a point about that at some point during a meeting, like in general, because it had like gotten to just a point where you were like barely being used, but like enough.
Oh, yeah, they wanted me to wrestle all the young kids, and I said, I'm done doing that, guys.
Right.
I'm a competitor. Like I've been doing it long enough. Have someone else do it. And I wasn't against the grain, but I'd be like, what do you want me to do? That's stupid. Like, like if it was something stupid, I'm like, oh, why would I do that? Like I remember one time I wrestled, I think Tommy Lane was the main event man. And I beat Tommy Lane up as the main event man because they didn't have anything. I'm like, but you have stuff for Roadblock, but you don't have stuff for me.
God.
Yeah. So at that one point, I knew the writing was on the wall. I think it was sadly around the time Damian Maine had passed away.
Yeah.
And I was the one that found out because like one of his girlfriends or one of his lady friends had posted it, and I saw it, and I reached out to the person because D Maine was my original announcer for many a year.
Yep.
So I reached out to the person. They told me what happened, and then I went on and told Sonny and Bomb and Hobo about it, and they decided to do a tournament. Well, around the time of the tournament, to like remember him, they got rid of the Al Biondi tournament and did it for D Maine, which made sense. A lot of people at the time didn't know who Al Biondi was anymore.
Right.
We did because we've been around it for a bit. They did. So anyway, they changed the Damian Maine Memorial Tournament, and around that time they had to have me go to meet them at the bowling alley in Newport. So I go to that bowling alley in Newport, and we have the sit down meeting, and they didn't want, like, Sonny was about having me there. He was trying to be like the mediator in the situation, but from my understanding, Bomb and Hobo didn't want me there at shows anymore. And I said, well, I have an agreement with John and a set pay, and I'm going to be on the shows and all this stuff. But if you don't want me there, you don't want me there. And John was playing it up like I didn't have this agreement. I'm like, oh, I see how this is. Cool. Well, I think it's funny you guys are doing a Damian Maine tournament. You wouldn't even known he passed away if I hadn't told you, because you guys don't really. I was getting pissed at that point. I was like, you don't think you guys really give a shit? Like, if you gave a shit, you would have done the work to find out about it, so you could pay tribute to him. Like when someone passed away, I try to find out everything about it, so I know, so I can inform the people that give a shit about the person. Especially in the wrestling world, we're all kind of a community. I found out so I could tell everybody because I told the locker room page when I found out. I posted in the locker room page. IWE had a locker room page, posted in the fan page. I was trying to let the fans know, let the boys know. I try to let everybody know he passed away, so we all pay their respects, Right. And so they made an agreement. Hey, we'll let you be in the tournament and finish the weekend out. I got to wrestle Shorey and Brewer. Because we had a story going, and I said, "Well, let me put Shorey on the way over on the way out because he put me over already. Let me put him over." And they all agreed to it. We were cool with it, and no harm, no foul. I did the tournament. I lost in the first round. Shocker, because obviously they weren't going to keep me around while we go on the second round, right?
Right.
And then the Brewer show. It's me and Shorey. Shorey takes me aside. I love Derek to death. He's awesome. He's like, "Hey, man. They want me to squash you, but I'm not doing that. Like they want you to squash me." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, first off, you're a 400-pound dude. So how the fuck am I going to squash you? Second off, I like you. We're friends. So I'm not going to do that to you." I'm like, cool. I later found out they also had asked him to shoot on me, and he flat out refused. He's like, "Are you fucking retarded? Are you dumb?
What
the fuck is your problem? Like, I'm not going to do that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to shoot on Eric. You guys are you ridiculous." That's what I heard. And when I went to go confront them later after me and Shorey went out there, had a great match, put him over clean, went and got my pay and my payment, I confronted them about it, and they flat out denied it. But Shorey told me, yeah, they wanted him to shoot on me. And he flat out said to their face, "Are you guys dumb? Are you like, I don't like to use the R word retarded, but that's what he said back then. During that time frame, that was the thing. Like, "Are you guys dumb? You want me to shoot?"
There's a lot of things said back then that shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, different time, different wording. That's literally what he's like. "Are you kidding me? You want me to shoot on? Are you guys mental?" Like, no, because Shorey did MMA,
right? Which
but
makes
Shorey
sense
also,
for them to say that. They wouldn't have told anybody else that didn't have his background to do that to you. And
Shorey, but Shorey also knew I used to amateur wrestle, and I'm a 400-pound man.
Yeah.
Like, what's?
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to like
Shorey. Listen, I'd be scared to fight Shorey because I've seen him throw hands at New England fights plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
Man's scary, and he knows how to fight. But he respected me enough to tell me that. So, hey, if he's listening, I appreciate you, Derek. Secondly, I don't think he would lie to me about that. So the fact that they asked him to shoot on me and he didn't do it, Shorey will forever get brownie points, in my opinion. The fact that they then denied it when they paid me my wrestling pay and my pay for the company, I thought that was funny. I was like, I see how this is.
And the shady shit began.
So you must have been not really like upset when it finally died. You probably were just like, yeah, fuck him. Good.
No, because at that point,
it was collective.
Something had happened where I don't know what happened, but I remember they were hurting for talent at one point. When I was first there, they had a plethora of people, and at one point they were hurting, and people were mad pissed because, first off, I was wrestling for Let's Wrestle, or in Orono at the time.
Yeah,
and I was hot fire at the time. Me and Brandino, I eventually did the stigma bit, and we were over. Like, we were getting a good push, and we were over. And I'm the local guy, and their crowds were dropping along with their talent. But Orono shows were packed. So I remember getting a message from Bomb saying he wanted to talk. So we met at Cityside at Jester's and talked about bringing me back. And I said, "Well, dude, we had an agreement, and you totally lied to Sonny and Hobo about it." He's like, "I did, and I apologize, but we can't afford to ask what you were paying for." I'm like, "Well, you get what you pay for, man. If you want to," all due respect, they were putting a lot of young guys on the shows that probably shouldn't have been on there, like certain handsome Mainers at the time. And I love Raph. I actually had a great match with Raph. Out of the younger guys, he got it. He picked it up quick.
Yeah.
And so he was good. But there's, and they had Lee doing Storm Eagle or something. They had a bunch of young guys that were not ready to be wrestlers, but were ready. Like they were almost there, but they needed more time.
Yeah,
like another,
but because they didn't have to pay them.
Yeah.
You know, and they had lost a bunch of talent. And I even helped them get talent. I remember I got them Dante, Dio, and a few other people to come up and work for them.
Love Dante.
They were
Awesome.
yeah, I got a couple people to go up and work for them because they were looking for people.
I think you hit him earlier. No,
But me and Bomb buried the hatchet. He brought me back, and I gave him a super discounted rate to come in and start working the shows again. So I started working the shows again, and we had buried the hatchet. I even gave them, because they didn't buy the cage, the steel cage that Larry owns. That was mine. Gave it to Bomb because I was clearing out a storage unit. And I had sold Crown of Maine, my other ring. I called it my TV ring. It was the nice ring that Crown of Maine owns. It has 2 sets of posts. It's adjustable. Short post, big post.
That's a nice ring.
That was my TV ring for many years. It stayed right out back at city side while Bertha stayed in the ring truck. This way I could have one there and have one on the road. You know what I mean? But I sold that to Crown, and all I had in my storage unit was this cage. And I said, Bomb, if you can come get this thing, you can have it. I think that's what started the burying of the hatchet. He took the cage. They used it a couple times, and then they flipped it and sold it to Larry. So, but we made amends. We're all cool. I have no heat with any of these guys. This is all past stuff. That's why I don't mind talking about it. If they get mad about it, it's past stuff. They know it happened. So it was years ago. I wasn't mad when it closed. I was mad when people, like we were talking about earlier, when people come up to me and were like, oh, we missed when you ran IWE. I wanted to go, go fuck yourself. Because a lot of the boys, this is the boys, not the fans, the boys would tell me all the time they missed it when I ran it. I'm like, no, you don't know what you got till it's gone. Because a lot of them were egotistical assholes. They were like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you don't work anywhere.
Sounds like AEW right now.
Like, if you don't work anywhere, how are you to tell me you're not going to do this, not going to do that? I remember a match, and this is in the past, so if somebody gets butthurt over it, they can get over it. And we're in a meeting. We had a meeting. It was supposed to be Scotty Wilde versus Johnny Miyagi, Johnny Torres, versus Shane Marvel versus Siler Graves.
What year?
This was a while ago, long time ago. This is me booking.
Shane was gone before the day I started.
He came and left a couple times because he's got an attitude, but we're cool. Me and him are cool now too. He actually apologized later on for a lot of the shit he put me through and thanked me for helping build him to the wrestler that he is today type shit. And I said, cool, I don't hold grudges anymore. I'm too old for that shit. But anyway, to get to the point of the story, this is one of the things I hated. Siler Graves was super over at this time.
He was.
His entrance, his fucking music, everything was hitting. And yeah, he was green, but he was super over. And I was like, Marvel was the champion, I think. Because he had beaten Just Incredible.
Yep.
And he was running with the title. And I said, the next IWE show in Brewer, half these guys weren't going to be there because they were going to be doing a seminar with Ultimo Dragon in like Jersey or something. And I was like, do it. Like, how often are you going to learn from Ultimo Dragon?
Yeah.
But I need the title to be here. So this is what I want to do. Graves was over. I wanted Graves to go over. And I said it in the meeting. And they all of them refused, except for Wild. Wild was very neutral, quiet. He just waited until everybody was done there. And then like half the locker room couldn't believe that they were like, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. And I want to go, you don't wrestle anywhere, guys. So I ended up taking them all to the side. Wild, still quiet. He stayed out of the whole argument. He was there to wrestle. That's what he always told me. I'm here to wrestle. And that's why I love Scott Wild. That's why he got a title run for IWE. But Marvel refused to put anybody over until him and Torres talked, and he agreed to put Torres over. And Torres agreed to not go do the seminar and would be at IWE the next month. I said, fine, cool. Happy we met in the middle and didn't do anything we wanted to do, which is what I wanted Graves over. So Torres went over. Marvel got all pissy, refused to come back. Eventually he did because he realized he wasn't getting worked anywhere. But they all do. Everybody always came back because they realized they weren't getting any work. IWE was the place that they didn't get what?
I never left. I was one of the very few that never left.
Let's
never
back
there.
to my point, though. Who had you worked for, even if you try to leave?
Well, I mean, it was numerous places, but like...
Didn't answer my question.
I
Exactly.
was
IWE
working
was the only game in town.
for TIW. I was working for...
GIW only ran the dome. But who else would you work for? There was no one else to work for. IWE was the only game in town. Unless you work for Randy, that's a total other story.
Right.
But my point being was I already knew. But having to play the mediator between people's egos pissed me off. But that's the shit that used to piss me. And then that whole scenario, like Graves should have went over. Nope, I had to fucking mediate and play the fiddle for this situation was stupid.
You don't see that happening now.
No, I will not do it. Period. But that's one of the things I hated. And that's the stuff later. And then the boys would tell me, I miss you when you ran. I'm like, you don't know what you got to is gone. Where were you when you 16 of you, 20 of you canceled on me during the third season of the Sky League and Fair?
Right.
Me, I'm dumping my hard-earned money into TV shows to promote you guys. And you just say, I'm good. I don't want to be here. Fine, be somewhere else. And guess what? They all tried. But
Didn't work out too well.
no, it didn't.
Well, yeah.
So when I was there for the last run of IWE, did I want it to be? Was I happy when it closed? No. It was my baby. I was actually at a point. Yeah, me and actually Mike Turner were talking about this. That one of the last shows there, it was I think a 4-way for the title. It was me, Luke Robinson,
It was the...
Black Rose, and Jimmy Limits. Right? Am I saying it right?
I remember that match. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a banger. It was a pretty good match. The following show, I was supposed to, I think, wrestle Luke Robinson in a singles match for the title. Mind you, Robinson just won, so obviously he was winning, and I had no problem putting him over. But me and Robinson have great chemistry. We used to fuck around back in the NWH days in the ring before shows, doing practicing spots and shit. So, and he did a spot, I think, in that match where he gave me a Death Valley driver. I did the spot out of the corner where I got stuck on the top, and he catches me and hooks me for a Death Valley driver. And we had good chemistry, so I was looking forward to that match. If anything, I was looking forward to the next IWE show that got canceled because of COVID. So
was it?
It wasn't just COVID. That
there was also a bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the shit being is the cancel culture came out with all the movements. There's 2 different movements that came out.
Man, that all blends together. I forgot it happened during like COVID.
It was
the
just
COVID times.
coincidence that COVID happened at the same time. If COVID didn't happen and it still went the same way, I feel like we'd still be in the same situation we are now. Probably.
Yeah. I mean, there's hello, Kitty. So all that shit happened, and I don't blame them at that point for not wanting to run IWE anymore. Like their name was in the crapper, and all because of people that worked for them. And honestly, you can't control what people do, but if you knew about it, yeah, you can. So I was a big person on calling out people for their bullshit. I will not put these names out there, but I remember a time when 2 people who were together and another couple that was together were all cheating on each other with other person's partners. And I had to bring them out back, have the conversation of stop shitting where you eat, or all of you are gone. So be with who you want to be with and get on with your lives, or you're all gone. Guess what? They chose, and we were back to being normal. I was a big proponent of getting people out of there that cause problems. I saw a bunch of questions that have been popping up here. What if stuff that people have been asking so I can try to answer some of them?
Little Joey Nails wants to hear about the Leatherheads.
Oh, so I came up with the Leatherheads. Ace Romero. I found Ace Romero at Super Lucha Explosiva. It was a company down in Southern Maine who would run Jimmy the Greeks.
What?
And they Super Lucha Explosiva.
Okay.
Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah.
Oh.
There were a bunch of guys that were partially trained trying to run a wrestling company, and they ran into me at Chikara at the Strive Center. And when I was working on all the Chikara shows that were coming to New England, they used to go to Chikara a lot because they used to love that type of wrestling. So they got a hold of me through Facebook, had me come down to work for them. Well, Ace was there. He was doing Batuka. Think of Umaga, but Ace doing it.
Yeah.
Batuka. Eventually, he stopped being Batuka and was doing Ace Romero, and he would come out wearing like almost like an Aces and Eights stuff from when TNA did Aces and Eights angle.
Very Ace.
And I was like, that's kind of cool. I know a guy that dresses like that, and it was Roadblock. That's how he really would dress because he's a biker. He had the vest and I said I should probably do something with that because Ace wanted to come up and work IWE shows because he was trained with the Team 3D school, and he wanted to actually get work. So I was like, yeah, you can get up here. I'll put you to work. So he'd come up. He'd even trained with us a few times. I don't remember how O'Reilly remember that. He started getting his rust off because I only worked Super Lucha shows.
I was driving Ace at one point while I was training up 2 shows too.
Yeah, Ace would come up, he'd train and work out, and because he was only doing those shows, which in turn also because he did my shows, he got in with New England Pro Wrestling Academy too a couple different times. He'd go down there and train too. But anyway, he was training and he wanted to do the biker gimmick because that's what he had for stuff. He didn't really have any gear at the time because he'd only had the Batuka stuff. Which he had Batuka gear. He was like a pair of tights and he'd wear barefoot. But anyway, he was doing the biker thing and I said, I saw Roadblock standing there and I said, yeah, here we go.
Oh my God. Would someone please pay for YouTube?
See? They look like bikers.
IWE Tag Team Gauntlet. Ace, how do you feel going into this matchup? A gauntlet match? It doesn't matter who enters the gauntlet match. It doesn't matter how many teams there are. The Leatherheads are walking down and they're walking out with the straps. All right, this Sunday night, you guys have another big challenge, another big match.
You didn't play my favorite promo, damn it.
What?
Eric Atlas and WWE Hall of
Get off.
Famer Tony Atlas.
You gotta play the best promo with them.
Tony Atlas.
You can do that.
Is it
I got it.
Hey, Leatherhead.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You see how they're out tonight? We won against WWE.
It's upside down.
Tony Atlas.
Title's upside down.
With the power of the punch by Leatherheads. No one's stopping us. We are the new era at IWE.
You can't even hear him, bro.
Okay.
And there's Eric. I'm
gonna actually get to a point where I'm gonna put over Roadblock here in this situation. So at this time, this was before Roadblock had his accident, and he actually wasn't a bad. I wouldn't say wrestler, but he was pretty decent.
Ben used to say that.
And Ace was just getting, like I said, used to wrestling all the time again because he was wrestling all my IWE days, which was like 4 to 6 shows a month. So I had put them together because you see the outfits, they look like they should be a tag. They look like they are together. They look like a bunch of bikers. So I gave them, I think I gave them Beavis to start off, and I called them the Leatherheads because Leatherhead, I used to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kid, and one of the characters from Ninja Turtles is Leatherhead. Yeah, I see Andy in the back going, yeah, Dylan is like, yeah, Ninja Turtles, Leatherheads, as I can call them, the Leatherheads, which the fans then started chanting leather daddies at them. Those leather daddies. Anyway, they were actually a really great tag team, and they were tagging all over Maine at one point. And then eventually Ace was surpassing Roadblock, so I started giving him his own singles push and broke him off from Roadblock. Also, him and Roadblock weren't getting along. I think at one point Ace lived with Roadblock, and it was just not.
First night training with you, first ever show. This was like June or July 2014. I had watched them have the worst like yelling argument in the backside of Cityside, like in the parking lot, and that was like the night that Ace like moved out and went back home to Saco. It was like that day.
His mom lives down that way, so like he moved up here to be closer to the wrestling because we were running 4 to 6 shows. And let's say we're doing Fairfield Brewer, and then let's say we're doing like an Island Falls Palmyra because we had the Palmyra Community Center back then. So like they're all up here. Saco was a way away, so he was living up here, living out with Roadblock, and they and they were hitting. They were great for a while, and then they weren't getting along. And so I said, I'm just gonna break you off from him. And I gave him his own singles push because he was putting the work in. Ace was training with me, but he would also go down and train in the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, and he would travel with Graves because Graves would go down back and forth. Anyway, Graves also lives in Southern Maine, so like when they needed to travel, Graves would just pick them up. Anyhow, so the Leatherheads ended up being moved around because when Ace broke off, I put Rugged Rick because Rugged Rick used to do like a same idea, but he'd come out with his big chain, would throw it around his head like this. A big biker chain and swing it around like a helicopter. And I was like, cool, you're going to do that spot. You're going to be the new Leatherhead. And I made the new Leatherheads because Beavis wasn't around either. At one point, he left. And I made Sarah wear the leather dominatrix outfit. And they were the Leatherheads. She had a full body leather outfit she'd come out to the ring with.
About that time. It was so not.
He's like, I'm bringing back memories for O'Reilly over here.
Calling anything the new something, though, is usually like the death knell for it automatically.
They were still. I transferred the heat because they were always heels. They were never baby faces. So when I peeled one off, which was Ace, to do his own singles run, I turned him baby. And I put Rugged Rick in to be the heel. We even did a tag. It was me and Ace versus the new Leatherhead. So, like, we transferred heat from one person to another is what I did. And it worked. And that's what I needed. And they were still calling them Leather Daddies. And then I put Sarah with them as a heater, too, because she had been heel at the time against me. So we were putting all the heat in one spot. We took essentially, we had chicken shit. We made chicken salad. We had a bunch of shit falling apart. We just squished it all together, made some decent out of it, and had good heat for them. They're still getting Leather Daddy's chance. It worked. Anyway, Ace did his own thing. After that, we all know what happened from there. He skyrocketed.
Kevin says living with Robot is a living nightmare.
That's what Ace said too. That's why Ace moved up. So
I was gonna say the last
heard the horror stories from Kevin, so I totally agree.
I don't know how he had any brain cells left even living with them.
Yeah. So what was there any other questions that people are asking? So I don't feel like I'm skipping them. I'm trying to. We just
no. You basically answered mine, like, because that's the main reason why I didn't like bring it up, because I didn't know how you'd feel talking about like the death of your company that you built up. You know,
I actually, when I was working out at Mad Catz, bartending there, I tried real hard for them to do a wrestling show out back there. When I worked there, I tried. I know O'Reilly over here tried too, but I was working there and I tried to do a 50-50 split on a show with them. That's how hard I tried to let them split and everything. And they thought about it, and I get it. They put a lot of money in that place and they just didn't want to risk it.
When they were still building, they were like still in production. They were building. They hadn't even touched the back room yet. That's
Correct.
when I was having a discussion with her, and she's had it in her mind as a possibility. And then I think just the idea of revamping the entire room and redoing it kind of was a better idea.
I was there when they were doing the back room because I was working there.
Yeah.
And Steve, which is Kat's husband, showed me there was layers upon layers upon layers of tiles on that floor. There was like 3 or 4 layers of tiles.
It was a lot.
It was gross.
Somebody had climbed in there. They snuck in through the back door and they hid
through the vending system. Yeah.
System. I was like, wow.
The plumbing was so old in that back bathroom that the urinal pipe was busted and it was just going into the wall.
I tried to avoid using that bathroom while we were active in IWE because it was just like a torture chamber of a bathroom.
Yeah.
So Bell to Bell Productions, who we know who you are, wants to know about Jiving Jimmy.
Everybody likes Jiving Jimmy. I hate doing it now, but it's because I think we talked about the Jiving Jimmy, the reason why I stopped doing it on the show. Yeah.
Podcast,
But honestly, though, I wish I kind of stuck with it. I should have adapted with it because
you could have evolved.
For years I was Jiving Jimmy, and still people like remember it to this day. That's how memorable it was, and I'm like, I should have just fucking kept doing it. Because maybe I would have got something out of it because it didn't work out for someone else who did the same similar gimmick. It might have worked out for me. You never know. Never say never in wrestling. So,
a certain dinosaur-based dancing person.
Yeah, we talked about it last episode.
You know, there could always be a possibility that you get knocked on your head, you get knocked out, and bring back Jiving Jimmy.
Hold on, he's not Johnny Primer.
What he said.
I love Primer.
We'll see. I know people keep asking me. First off, I have some of the stuff to still do it. I mean, I kept my gear back in the day when I was doing Jive and Jimmy. All my gear was made by Adrian Street when he was still around.
Oh damn!
So
that's cool.
Yeah, he used to sell tights on eBay. He had a store and stuff. And I reached out, and it used to be him and his wife who used to make these by hand. Exotic Adrian Street, and he made my gear. And so I kept ordering gear for all the not leopard print, but the tiger. You would have loved it, to probably Cat, because he used to do tiger stripe stuff. He would have.
Oh yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, I'll have to show you my old Chikara tights. I still got them. They're ones that the gear I specifically saved for like high end shows. I had specific gear for them, and I still have the tights. He's like, I want them now.
And like, what's your price?
How much you want for them? Probably too much.
Yeah, he's gonna see them and be like, oh, they have tassels and tiger stripe on them.
Now I want them more.
He's just like, he just heard tiger stripe and tassels.
Mortgage, buddy.
Dude, I had the very flamboyant gear back in the day. I'll tell you.
So I'm gonna pick on my tag team partner and say at least he'd have actual gear for once.
I want to also pick on my tag team partner. How many times have I told you to fucking get some gear written up and let's fucking get some gear out?
I have gear designed. I just don't have the money to pay for it.
The gear that I have left, if I was to sell it to you, the Jive and Jimmy gear, it's a purple and neon, like greenish yellow color with tiger stripe and tassels.
I do have some purple gear designed.
Actually, I don't know. You might be able to actually bring it up. Hold on. It might be on the Keep Wrestling Alive YouTube channel. The match from Chikara. I snuck it up there.
Welcome.
Keep Wrestling. It's WRASSLIN. Like wrestling. Keep Wrestling Alive YouTube channel, which used to be attached to the page on Facebook. But the match might be up there from me from Chikara with those tights on.
They might fit me. They might.
He's excited. He's like, I hope they fit me. Mind you, I just told you where I got them from, right? Adrian Street made them. So
Eric's gonna be like
my Chikara pair of fucking tights that I like wore every time I wrestled with Chikara. I wore those. So like,
yeah, Cat, you better get a second mortgage. I'm just saying.
He's looking at it. O'Reilly's looking right. You find it?
I was, yeah.
So one of your children.
You
type in also in a basic search, Jive and Jimmy and Anthony Stone, it might pop up because he's in the match. He's the one who won.
That's the first move. You're upset.
He's looking now. He's like, I must find it. He looks so. Look, he's like,
I remember these. Okay.
Yeah, well, you guys used to want to watch that shit. You used to come to my apartment and want to watch all my Chikara matches.
I remember. Oh God, the quality of those garbage here. I'm still sharing my screen.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
I found it in 2 seconds.
So you guys can see this stuff. I can't see it. So
I'll pull it up here in a second.
You'll have to fast forward to my entrance, but you might see it.
I actually have this one. It's Kobold, Cameron Matthews, Javin Jimmy, and Anthony Stone.
Yeah, go back to my end. Yeah, I'm like one of the first entrants. And I do my strut, my Jive and Jimmy strut.
Oh, Luke.
They'll give you the best view of my gear.
Right there, yep.
I might even have the vest to match it. So if you want to steal the vest too.
I don't have
Make your Jive and Jimmy Jr., Cat.
I don't have that much
Young
money.
Lions Cup highlights. Damn.
Right. I don't think I can be able to rock that shit either.
Look at those pants. Look at those. It's exotic pants. Tiger stripe with neon.
Those are dope. I'm not gonna lie. Those are pretty dope.
Didn't Jossie borrow something like that?
I let him borrow them because he was trying. He wanted to try out a gimmick and he didn't want to buy gear. He wanted to try it out to see if it's something he wanted to run with. So I let him run with them. I let him borrow them to use it.
I have pictures from that show. It's one of my first Let's Wrestle shows.
Yeah, I let him borrow them.
Yeah, where he dyed his hair blonde. I actually, yeah. Is that Greenleaf in the ring?
No.
Oh.
Actually, a young Randy Carver's in the audience with his friends watching this show.
Oh, jeez. Oh, there's freaking Rod and Robbie.
Yeah, there's a lot. There was a lot of people there. But anyway, yeah, those are what the tights look like. I still got them somewhere.
Where's this building?
This
is the Strive Center.
Pretty dope tights.
Yeah, this is down in Portland, right?
Yeah, the Strive Center in Portland. Shakara got the building because of Robbie Ellis. Robbie Ellis had an in, and he got the building for them.
Does this building
Robbie Ellis used to work for Shakara. This is when Robbie Ellis had to stop wrestling, though. He was back. Watch this spot right here. Watch.
Whoa.
Me and Cameron Matthews have mad good chemistry. Here comes Cobalt.
Still around? Like,
I thought Cobalt was going to win this, but it ended up being Anthony Stone randomly. I don't know how that happened. And they had, if you fast with me and Cameron Matthews are like the first ones eliminated, which was really bad because it killed the crowd afterwards. Like, oh, you can eliminate the 2 local guys first.
Oh,
I also do a dive off the second to the floor, I think, on this match.
gross.
Jesus.
Which Cobalt oversells it like a mofo.
I gotta say, because you guys give me shit about speaking.
Yeah.
It's Bell to Bell Promotions, not Productions, Mr. Nix.
I don't care.
He just titty slapped you.
Oh.
I gave him Mongolian.
Yeah.
See, Anthony Stone won this randomly.
He's so small.
Jive and Jimmy coming back 2025.
You guys see Bell Promotions try to work me to do that now. They're like, how much is it going to cost for you to do this? Oh, as he kicked him in the face.
That was gross.
We all ended up doing dives here at one point, and you want to see that spot. That's pretty cool.
What year was this?
Could not tell you.
Oh, you can't even remember the year.
It might be, if you go on my Facebook, you might be able to find it in the images.
Hold on. It was just
Because there was a match graphic that they made, and we all had to share it. They sent it to us to share. Oh, this is cool. They call this the leapfrog spot.
That was
the lily pad spot. Excuse me. We called it the lily pad spot. That was really cool.
This match, it was posted 4 years ago, but it's probably way long.
No, it's way older than that. I got the footage. I got the footage, and they said I could post it because it was so far afterward.
Luke's promo for it, easier to say it that way, it was from 12 years ago.
Like I said, there might be a match graphic on my Facebook page somewhere in the images. Good luck finding it because it'd be forever. Oh, what? This is gross. Oh, probably watch this spot right here. This is where we get close to the dive. Watch where he eats it. He almost broke his leg. I was scared for him a minute because he wasn't supposed to fall to the floor. He was supposed to land. So I'm like, are you okay? You didn't see me do that, but I'm like, are you okay? And then Cobalt's like, fuck him. So he's talking to me, but also biting me at this time. Anyway, if you want to fast forward a little bit, we'll go to the dive spots here in a minute.
I just found a match. It's Mac Daniels versus Doug Weiser and Jive and Jimmy. You're obviously Eric Johnson in this match, but it says Jive and Jimmy. Like you're wearing totally Eric Johnson gear.
Here's the dive spots. One. I thought he broke his legs. I thought he broke his legs when he did that. I'm watching over like, nobody die. Everybody starts doing dives. The only one I think that didn't was, I think Stone didn't do a dive because he's not a person that does dives.
I hate when you're the last person in a waterfall spot and you see the first person like.
Well, here's cool. He said he didn't do dives, so this is how I cut. I remember talking. I'm like, you don't do dives? Like, no. I was like, I'll cut you off with this, like lariat. And I was like, oh, cool. I'll do a dive. Fuck it.
There you go.
Kevin knows 2012.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
It's 2012. I was still living in Massachusetts. Fuck, I was still married.
So after this dive, pay attention because watch Cobalt sell this. I was trying not to laugh while on the floor after he does the sell job after the dive spot.
He doesn't take a dive, but he lets you take
He's already selling.
Is he fly snapping while selling? Because that's just great.
Oh god, this build-up though. This is terrifying.
Yep. Well, the Super Lucha guys I was talking about, the Super Lucha Explosiva that was there, they were in the attendance and they talked to me at intermission at this show to book me for their show. Listen to the reaction from the announcers too.
Murder. Oh, the fan is getting his ass kicked.
The next time I take a dive, I'm selling like that. Oh, it's about the time of the Yes Movement. That makes sense.
So, anyway, we can wrap that up. Come back in. But yeah, dude, it was
Go.
those are the gear. So if you want to take a look at them, they should fit you if they fit my fat ass.
I don't want to hear the price. It's probably way too high that I want to pay for.
You know it will be.
I negotiate just because I know you need legit gear, and those came from Adrian Street, so you can't get much more legit than that.
The only thing
true.
is that Nix would have to match me.
He's got purple gear.
Green? That's easy.
He's got both.
He can actually watch both. He can wear one of each.
Yeah.
I'll think
Purple
about
singlet, and green pants.
He could change gear mid-match.
To be fair, I do have a new set that I got myself for Christmas on the way. I got a new set of single stuff. I figured the next set of tag stuff we'd get together. So
Yeah. I'll think about it. I don't want to know the price.
I don't want to spend the money.
wow.
Only Eric offering to sell his
I know it's so much
car.
money. I don't want to hear the price. I know it's going to be so much.
Hey, Eric, do you want a Red Bull cooler?
No, this is mine. I just got this.
That's gear. That's your new gear right there. Just give it the Red Bull
Why
cooler.
no, I want a Red Bull cooler.
That's way more.
When people call me Carney, you're trying to sell me his Red Bull cooler.
I don't see a-
My car
Wait. I'll
over
do one
now.
better. He'll leave everything in it.
I don't see a Red Bull in that cooler.
No, there isn't.
Like Mountain
My
Dew
Red Bull
and
guy
Diet
hasn't given me
Coke.
Red Bull
No.
yet.
Twisted Teas, Dr.
Twisted Tea's on the top level. I can see it from here.
Yeah.
I can't from here.
Coke, Dr. Pepper. I got some water.
Water.
No, yeah.
Gatorade.
Just reminded me of alcohol.
Guess what's never getting touched in that cooler?
That's why it's still full and everything else is almost empty.
So you were telling me like you were afraid to ask. If you have afraid to ask questions, you are welcome to ask them. So I know you said you had that one, and I said yeah.
That was the biggest one because I didn't want to like.
And that was the one where like how I felt after I sold it. Was that what the question was?
Yeah, it's like after you sold it and then found out that it was going under basically. So
I remember going.
It was frustrating for me to hear when people like mostly the boys would be like, dude, like what? Like we really wish you hadn't sold it. I'm like, you guys have no idea the shit I went through.
Yeah.
In my life. My bell-to-bell promotions.
Money is no object.
Money is no object. Bring back Jimmy.
Turner, that could be a bad. You know who you're talking to, right, Turner?
$500.
That's not as bad as I thought.
That's not a bad price.
It's not
I
that
would
bad.
probably.
Not that
I would
bad.
probably.
I'm
spend
joking
$500
around, but
here.
anyway, to get back on task, thanks bell-to-bell promotions. It was frustrating for me to hear when people were getting like, "Oh, well, we missed when you ran it" and all this stuff, because I was like, "Y'all don't know what I went through, man. That thing ruined my." And I honestly, like, wrestling ruined probably my marriage. Many of my relationship. I was married for 6 years or so. I was with Sarah D'Erico for 3 years or so. Like, and wrestling kind of ruins that shit. It ruins your life when you're, especially about the time I was running 4 to 6 shows a month sometimes, if not more. And it ruined my life. Also, people are sneaky in wrestling. Like, I can remember I'd be sitting on Sarah's couch and her head would be on my lap and I'd be just running my hands through her hair and her phone would go off. And it'd be somebody hitting her up, like in her DMs, and she would show me. And to the boys who did that, I know who you are, because she showed me all the messages while she's head is on my lap watching TV, petting her head like this, and her phone would go off, and they would show me the shit, and I would call them out on it at shows. I would call them out in person.
Throw some names.
No, because it's the past now. But see, you showed me everything. She even showed a certain name that I brought up to the show. I bring this certain name up twice a year because he had family up here. And I bring him up early so he can go spend time with his family. On my dime, I'd fly him up. I didn't have to pay hotels, so he'd stay with his family. I'd fly him up early. He'd go spend time with his family and then fly him back. And he would do the weekend. And he'd do a seminar on the Brewer shows.
Ooh,
See, O'Reilly's trying to figure it out. So I did this twice a year, if not more. And because I did that, he would put people over. Put me over, put Gino Martino over, he put a bunch of people over. And I brought them in all the time. Well, one day, because I was doing stuff, and I've done many of his seminars. I didn't want to do it, but Sarah was still training all the time, and she did the seminar, and he was talking to her, and he convinced her to somehow give her number to him so that he could get her bookings down in his area. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
Well, she told me one time when I was at her house, and he was texting her all the time, and she showed me the texts. And one of the texts was, he literally told her not to tell me about it as she's showing me the text.
God.
And then so I sent him a text. It's a picture of me taking a picture of her phone with it on there, and I sent it to him from my phone. And he just says, I assume I'm not going to be booked anymore, huh? I'm like, probably not, asshole. Probably not. I'm not going to say who it is. He knows who he was. He got caught.
Mm-hmm.
He said he was going to help her get bookings and she can come down and train with him and all this shit, and he can stay down at her place. And she was too awestruck about the situation because she was green and didn't know how wrestling works. And then she figured it out later when he started saying some fucked up shit to her.
You know what? So in
She
relation,
was optimistic. She was innocent, didn't know until she figured it out. And then she showed me.
We also, yeah.
when you guys broke up in what year?
Couldn't tell you.
I got it. So
It's been too long, dude.
in relation to it, I remember, and this was like at a point you guys were like, either it had already been over and done with, and I think you were still booking her though still.
Yeah, I was professional about it.
Right. So I remember this night very vividly. You had some card put together, and it ended up being me and somebody else, but then you noticed that Sarah was not there, so you had some changes, and then she just showed up, and you looked at me and you said, all right, change of plans. And you had me versus Sarah, and that's all you left it at, was just that. You didn't say who was over. And then I remember at one point that we were trying to figure out what was going on, and I go, wait a minute, I don't know who's over. And I walked over to you and I go, hey, who's over? And you just look over at her, just like in a glaring manner, and then you look back at me and you go, you're over. And I was like, oh, okay. Which was like my first singles victory, like ever in wrestling so far at that point. And it'd been like 7 months in. And he just looks at her with this look and then looks back at me and goes, yeah, you're over. But the whole match was her just kicking my ass. And then it was me with a roll up in the end. It was my entire match with Sarah.
Yeah. There were some awkward times there when we were split up.
I think it was
because she had left me for a coworker at her actual shoot job who supposedly was gay and obviously was not. And it was just super awkward because she was like, she thought she'd be cut out. And I said, no, you can still come to shows. And we were also in a storyline that had some semblance of realism, if you remember that. We talked about that at the last one. Yeah. Well, there was an incident out back. I don't know if you remember this, but I think Scotty Wild and Ace did because they were sitting there when it happened. It was me. We were going over that tag match. It was me, and it was a handicap. It was Aiden Andrews as Jiving Jim Andrews and Sarah. And I was out back, and we were going over the matchup, and Ace and Wild were both sitting down, like changing. And Mark Godfrey was there because he had a run-in spot. Yep. And it was funny because Neil had to actually hold Mark back because she said something real fucked up.
Oh, no.
I said, I was like, we're trying to go over the match, and I keep asking her, do you want to do this? And she's like, I don't know, Eric. Do I want to do that? You're the one booking the match. You're the veteran. You figure it out. And she was getting a lot of sass, and I'm like, okay, we're not doing that spot. Every time she gave me sass, I cut a spot out for her. I was like, I'm just trying to get through this match. She's like, well, what if I don't want to lose? And I said, then you don't have to wrestle ever again for me. Like, I don't know. There's no one else. Like, IWE, we were like Motel 6 at the time. We were keeping the light on. IWE was the only game in town. Anyway, she was giving me so much sass. And then eventually, I'm like, I was getting pissed. And Mark could tell I was. And I said, listen, I don't want to take 2 weeks to go over this fucking matchup. I want to get this thing over and done with. And it was totally a dig.
course.
Because when we broke up, literally once we broke up, 2 weeks later, she moved that guy in to her house.
Oh.
So we broke up. 2 weeks later, the dude was moved into our house. And she's like, "Oh, I see what you did there. That's real funny." Haha. Yeah, well, it's not going to take 2 weeks. That's when she's like, "It didn't take us 2 weeks to start fucking." That's what she said. So that means she would literally started fucking him right after she broke up with me. And Neil actually had Omar Godfrey back. He doesn't hit women. He's not into that. He's a good dude, but he was ready to kick her in the face. Neil had to step up to him like, "Don't do it." He's like, "Dude, that was fucked up. That was fucked up." So she pretty much said, like, okay, it didn't take 2 weeks for them to start fucking. That meant that she was fucking them either right when we broke up or right after we broke up, one at a time, somewhere in there. And mind you, I still stayed professional, still went out there, did the match. After that, after I was over with, I could give a shit if she showed up or not.
Right.
We finished the story. We finished that story that night. And Mark got a little receipt later because she ended up showing up randomly for an Island Falls show one time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know she was coming. And I didn't have anybody. Mark wasn't going to work the show. At first, he was just there to hang out, but then I needed him to wrestle. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I need you to wrestle Sarah. And he was like, my fucking pleasure. Yeah, she got lost. She got blown up. Mind you, Mark is on dialysis 3 days a week. He was not doing well, but he was in better cardio shape than she was.
For a man,
and then she fucked up the finish. And so his finish was a super kick. He went to go super kick her. She was afraid to bump or something, but she ate that fucking super kick. She fucking ate it. Ate it. And Mark's like, dude, she can't be wrestling anymore. She was blown up. She couldn't do this, couldn't do that. Come to find out, she'd been drinking. Heavily. Her and her boyfriend were heavy into alcohol. Now she's the exact opposite. She don't drink.
Oh yeah, no.
She's she's a vegan now. I think she went full 360 to 180, whatever. She turned her life around. Great for her. Happy for her.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her in ages, but
I saw her at the Skeleton Fair this past year. She looks the same in all aspects. But
look at the dreads. She got dreads back then when all this stuff went down. She didn't have the dreads yet. So
her kid looks like an adult now, which is wild.
Yeah. So I'm happy for her. I know her son got huge.
Yeah, he's just a big adult. He looks like an adult. I think he's still
an
adult.
That was a whole nother fucked up situation that I don't know if we should open that can of worms, but that whole thing.
Do we want to open up that can of worms?
Welcome to the first session of worm opening podcast.
She never, when she broke up with me, mind you, I was with her for 3 years and I was like over there every week.
Right.
And he would play with my kids.
Right.
And he was the age right between my two kids. So like they were all within a year of each other.
Yep.
So when we called it quits with me, she never told him anything.
Jesus.
So she had just disappeared. He wondered where I went, and I was like a father figure to him. And we were doing a training week in Brewer, and she came up. I'm trying not to cry because it's sad. He was at the end of the train, like at the end of the training night. I was sitting there just talking to him in a chair, and she was in the ring, and he was like real sad. He's like, "Why did you leave? Why did you not come back?" And I said, "That's not up to me. That's up to your mom."
Right.
You know, and I looked at her. I'm like, "You didn't tell him anything, did you?" She started crying. She's like, "No,
right,
I didn't." And then I had explained to him, like, "Well, your mom doesn't care, doesn't love me like that anymore, and she loved her new boyfriend's name. I'm not going to say it on here, but she loves him now, and I'll still always be here for you. I'm just sorry your mom didn't tell you that stuff because that's not something I could tell you. She didn't want me around anymore." And then he got upset at her, and then she kept crying, and she said sorry to him, and it was a whole hot mess. And that was one of the last times like she started bringing him to shows. After that,
yeah.
So,
I remember.
Yeah.
Up until he stopped coming.
And I felt bad for her, but I also didn't because she should have said something.
Right.
You know, because he asked about my kids. They used to all play together.
My daughter is at that age now where she asks that question too. Like on a personal note, like I understand, like, you know, she's like, why is, you know, mommy and daddy, you know, that sort of scenario. So like, I can totally understand that from your perspective.
And I'm not the biological father, obviously, because Aiden was born way before me, but I treat him like he was one of the kids because he was always with my kids. They were always hanging out and stuff. And he's a big kid now, so I mean, I saw him one randomly time in passing at Umami, and they were all eating at Umami one time way a while back. And he got huge. He's about as tall as my kid is.
Good boy.
my kid's big. He's about the same size as my kid. They could have done something in wrestling. Tell you what, them two kids.
You're still
Wow.
But yeah, it was sad. And that kind of broke me when he was upset. Like, 'cause he was starting to cry too, where they're in that whole thing, and I just felt bad. I was just like, this should not be happening. Like, anyway,
yeah,
there's that can of worms.
Yeah,
let's open some more. I'm sure you got. Come on, guys, you have a week to prepare. What are your questions? Let's go.
I gotta think for a minute here. Let's talk about. Hang on. Let's talk about. Like, because I mean, I could throw name. I feel like I could throw names.
Whatever, just get at me. Come on.
The Shane Marvel World Title situation in 2015 when you had Ace and Benny wrestle each other instead.
Oh. You want to know what happened or how it happened? Or
I know everything about it when it happened, but I'm sure they have no idea.
Do that story, and then
we were talking about earlier where Shane Marvel didn't want to drop the belt, right? And then he agreed to drop it for Torres or whatever. Well, he stopped coming to shows after that because he's all pissed off. Which also, funny note, all that was for nothing because that Ultimo Dragon seminar didn't even end up happening.
Right.
So all of it was for nothing.
Shit was for nothing.
All of it was for nothing. So that's why I thought. So anyway, fast forwarding.
Way better.
Eventually, I hear back from Marvel, and he apologized, and he's not getting work. You know, he apologized to me, manned up about it, said he fucked up, and I said, "Cool. Well, we'll bring you back in." So we mended fences. He came back in, worked his tail off, got him to the title because he used to be a champion. Got the belt back on him, and at the time, remember, I said Ace after with the Leatherheads, I built him up singles wise. He went from like Twin Cities champ. Yep. All the way up, heavyweight, the whole deal, heavyweight champ. He did some real good shit. We built him up. We did it. I was big on storytelling. Like everybody could tell you, I did some amazing fucking stories in IWE because that's my big thing. We were very, there's wrestling, some great wrestling there.
Yep. Like
this Best of 7 series with Prophet and Wild was some great fucking wrestling, but also there's some great storytelling. Anyway, so Marvel has the belt. We're building up to Marvel versus Ace. I don't know what brought this on, but Ace had just wrestled. Marvel's out back, and he's supposed to do a run-in and beat up Ace. For some odd fucking reason, Marvel hucks a chair into the ring at Ace, hits Ace in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hard.
Yeah.
Ace sells it for a second, but you can tell it's selling it because it shocked him more than anything. He took it. Mind you, the back of the head is an unsafe spot to hit. It's soft tissue skull. Yep. Like you can't be doing that stuff.
Matt Hardy busted open Brock Lesnar by accident, hitting in the back of the head with the chair.
So Marvel hits the ring, thinking he's gonna beat down Ace. Ace shoots back on him. This is motherfucker try to hit me in the back of the head with that fucking chair. Like you could hear the shit. They're throwing fucking swears. They're throwing real punches. Shit turns into a shoot. And then the mic gets involved.
Yep.
Because they still are working toward this matchup that's supposed to happen the next Brewer show.
I was working hand cam. Was like, what?
And he's like, I'm gonna like the whole member. You know how Ace always says, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
That started that night in Brewer.
That's how it started. That's right.
It's like part of my language, but I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. And I'm like, oh god damn it.
It's like
and there's a family show. There's kids in the audience. This is the first time he says it though, like that. So, and it a good reason.
Kids are going home like, motherfucker.
So they end up calming down. Everything gets smoothed over. And I'm like, oh, cool. We're still going to be able to do this match. Because they still got through the promo, even though it felt like a shoot. And it kind of was. We get now. I was weary on Marvel to begin with. I'm not an idiot. So for a couple of months, Ben was coming to shows. Alexander Lee was coming to shows and just sitting there and watching and would drink with the boys and hang out and was watching.
First night I met him was that night.
I'm a smart motherfucker. Ben, the whole time Marvel was coming back, I had Ben showing up, keeping an eye on him because I had a feeling something not gonna go his way. He's gonna leave. Sure as shit. I get a text for the week of the show from Marvel. Might not be able to make it up. This, that, and the other thing. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't know because I had this big orange old suitcase, a belt bag of doom. This is like one of those old school hard orange suitcases. All the belts, it'd be heavy as fuck. You had to have two people carry the goddamn thing because it was so fucking heavy. Because all the belts were in.
Tote of doom, or your bag, your gimmick tote of doom.
Well, when he said he wasn't coming, I had an inkling. So I went and go checked. He took the belt with him, which was a big no-no.
Stole it.
He took it. And I messaged him. I was like, so when were you going to tell me you took my belt? Didn't take him long to answer. I was going to get promo shots with it. I'm like, you didn't ask. Belts go back in the bag for a reason. They're not your property. They're my property. They're props for a show that I'm running. They're not your property. I need the belt back. He's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get it to you. I'm like, well, you're going to ship it to me. Because if you don't, I'm going to consider it theft because you already admitted in this text you took it without asking. And my buddy, his name is Eduardo, worked for Brewer PD. And since the belt got taken in Brewer from an event, I would have put it on to him and let him done the rest. And I said, if you want a theft charge, it's on you, buddy. Let me know.
And the only reason why we all knew this was because you called him out during the meeting.
Yep.
That night of the show.
Mm-hmm. He knew what he was doing when he did it. He knew what he was doing when he did it. And he even admitted to me he did. He just didn't expect me to threaten to call the cops on him because I had a friend that worked at Brewer PD. I was like, I'm just going to throw you under the bus, too, because you took it from a Brewer show.
Yeah.
That's in Brewer. That's theft. That's the location you stole it from, which Cityside, from my bag.
He just didn't do it.
And you admitted in the text. He admitted in the text he didn't have permission to take it.
Yep.
So I said, you have a choice. You can overnight it to me. Hope it gets here in time. But if I don't have that belt in my hand come show day,
yeah,
cops are getting called.
Yep.
He sent it, and he gave me the tracking info. He gave me all the info. It got delayed. It got caught in the mail somewhere.
Oh.
So I said, okay, I had a backup. Oh, they had one of the old belts. And we used that to get by. Yeah. So come day of the show.
That was the first night I wrestled.
Yep. Come the day of the show. We didn't tell anybody. Yep. And Marvel wasn't coming. Alexander Lee, who was Scotty Vegas at the time.
Yep.
This is when the transition actually happened for him to be Alexander Lee. It was right after this. He hadn't wrestled on shows in maybe a year.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. He'd taken time off to get his health right because his back was fucked. But he'd be coming to the shows to watch and was sitting in the audience and drinking and having a good time. So at the beginning of the show, we make the announcement, tell everybody Shane Marvel's not here. But there is going to be a championship matchup tonight. And we have a special, and then Ace comes out. We have a special opponent, blah, 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 blah. We build it up. Ace comes out. Nobody knows it. Here comes Alexander Lee. Big pop. And this was supposed to be like a street fight, right? Was it fans bring the weapons, or was it? It
was fans bring the weapons, but that's
it's supposed to be a big blow up with fans bring the weapons between Marvel and Ace. Yeah. So there was weapons involved, which is Ben's forte anyway. So it just worked out right. Like my inkling, I'm always planning ahead. If someone's going to fuck me over, I'm going to know it, or I'm going to be close to knowing about it before they even do it. And that's when I caught Marvel. The belt ended up getting to me on Monday after the show was over, but we used an old belt to. Anyway, he also beat the shit out of that belt, by the way. The belt that he beat the shit out of it. Leather was cracked in multiple places. No one took care of it.
Sounds familiar.
So I ended up selling that because I couldn't use it anymore. So we just kept using the old belt until I got another new one. And I sold the busted up one. I sold it to the 5-star spectacle guys.
Oh, JC and
the dude with the chains that used to come out. The not the tall one.
the other dude.
Yeah. Not the manager, but the regular dude that had all the gold chains and shit. He bought the plates and re-leathered it and made it look nice. I said, I can't do nothing with it. It was destroyed. But that's that story. I'm always planning. Back in IWE days, I always had a backup plan. If someone wasn't coming. Like I knew something was going to happen.
Destroy belts, you say?
He just death stared you, dude. He just
it's like he broke the fourth wall. It's like, fuck you, bitch. Get out of my spot.
Oh shit!
I have another one.
Hold on.
We'll take turns. We got time. So
Hold on.
Round table.
let's go to Cat first.
We messaged privately earlier before. You were saying that you had a different scoop about Primer with New Jack.
Oh,
I want to hear.
You mean the thing what happened with Wilder, right? Is that what you're talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Primer led into it, but he didn't give the full details. So I'll give you the details. First, Primer, I gave Primer the venue. I had taken it over that Bangor venue, which was a nice venue. Neil used to run a company called Aiden Andrews. You run NCWE, North Coast Wrestling Entertainment, and they used to run shows in Ohio with Mark Godfrey, and then they came back and he got this venue somehow.
Backyard thing that they did, or was this?
They did like a set. It was like professionals and slightly trained people. It was a thing they did in Ohio. I couldn't tell you because I wasn't there for any of that. But when he came back here, they wanted to go reopen their company, and they got this venue. Well, Mark was there to help, but he didn't want to be funding any of it. Neil did it, and then I think Vaughn from Crown of Maine helped finance some of the shows and get it going. Eventually, Neil got burnt out and didn't want to run shows anymore. I can't say I blame him. It's a lot of freaking work. But he gave me the venue, and I ran a couple shows there. Well, I gave Primer this venue, and he's doing his first big Primer Inc. Presents show. He brings in New Jack. Tony Atlas was there, which that was super awkward because Tony Atlas and New Jack don't get along.
Why?
Because New Jack knows Tony to be a company man.
Oh,
And New Jack don't like company man.
you don't
Guys,
like
the WWE guys are company guys. So anyway, fast forward to the part we're talking about. So the main event is Larry Wilder and Rob Marsh. Well, first off,
my boy.
they couldn't get any. New Jack's opponent changed multiple times.
I wonder why.
It originally was supposed to be Cactus. It was originally supposed to be Cactus. Pwop, pwop, Cactus. The knockoff Cactus Jack. His name's Donnie. Dangerous Donnie. Cactus. Pwop, pwop. He cuts a promo
So bad.
on New Jack. It was like slight shoot, slight not. And then New Jack cuts a promo back where he threatens to murder him and his family.
Which he would have done.
Probably would have done.
Not
So
given.
magically, Cactus cancels. And then Rob Marsh is supposed to wrestle New Jack directly.
And Marsh don't give a fuck about it.
But Marsh's ride had ended up backing out. So it left the only person that was like not booked but would do hardcore stuff is Larry Wilder. But Larry Wilder does like the old, remember the hardcore belt back in the day, like Road Dogg and Al Snow and all them fighting for the WWE hardcore shit. He doesn't do like deathmatchy stuff.
Yeah.
And so Primer ends up finding somebody that's willing to give Rob Marsh a ride. But I had already told Wilder he's going to wrestle New Jack. So he's like, I'm going to do one better. New Jack's bringing Kareem. Kareem used to also wrestle for ECW. I don't know if y'all know that, but he did. He also broke his leg in ECW, but he used to wrestle in ECW. So Kareem had reached out from New Jack and said he was coming. So Primer's like, fuck, if he's free, sure, I'll use him. That's awesome. So we had an ECW guys versus Wilder and Rob Marsh, but he's going to have Wilder and Rob Marsh fight it out like a national match, and then they come in and beat the shit out of both of them. Anyway, little did very many people know, Larry Wilder was my brother-in-law because I had married his sister at one point. I was married for like 6 years. I was married, and then I got separated and divorced, and all that fun stuff. Well, I was dating Sarah at the time, and Wilder was still wrestling. I trained Larry Wilder because, like I said, he was my brother-in-law. I trained him for free, mind you. So anytime me and Sarah were together on shows, which was all the time back then, he would tell everything that's happening with me and Sarah to his mom, which is my ex-wife's mom. So I was hearing all this shit from my ex-wife all the time, like all this bullshit. And me and New Jack were just like, me and Sarah were having a talk. She was there to watch the show. She wasn't on the show, but we were talking. And I introduced her to New Jack, and me and New Jack had been talking. All the old guys seem to come to me, and we all start shooting the shit about old shit. Wonder why. Anyway, I explained to him that, that one of the guys he's wrestling is my former brother-in-law. He goes, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I had to just let it slip that he was always running his mouth to my ex-wife's mother, my former mother-in-law. He goes, really?
Oh.
Eric, you're the reason why.
So, hold on. We're going to get to it. Don't ruin it yet. I didn't say nothing else. But I could tell. He's like, son of a bitch. He's like, all right. So Primer had seen us talking a couple different times. Like I said, me and any of the old guys in wrestling, me and them always end up hitting it off because we always talk about old shit. So fast forward, the match happens. And obviously, Wilder takes the finish, which is where New Jack jumps off the top rope full Cactus Jack style and skateboards that light tube covered chair off of Wilder's face.
Yeah.
And fucks Wilder up real fucking good. Also, Wilder was wearing new gear that match. I don't know why. He was wearing brand new gear that his girlfriend had bought him.
Oh.
And New Jack proceeds to ruin this brand new set of gear he's wearing because he's hitting with light tubes, a pizza cutter, a sickle. I think someone hit somebody with a keyboard from a computer. Like, there's a bunch of shit. New Jack fucked his day up. And Kareem had a baseball bat wrapped in shoot barbed wire. Wasn't even clipped. Was hitting with that shit right across his... Right across his singlet. Brand new singlet. Was hitting that shit right across his fucking spine.
I don't clip
fucking his shit up. So, of course, I end up hearing shit later. Not so much about me and Sarah this time, but how I essentially put a hit out on Larry. I'm like, what? And this is while I'm still at the venue. I'm hearing this shit from my ex-wife, which is, she's getting yelled at from her mom, my former mother-in-law. I'm hearing this shit from my ex-wife. And I'm still at the venue. I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I? I thought I was getting yelled at about the Sarah thing again. Like, oh, no shit about Sarah. Like, this is my ex-wife. Like, it's over with. I'm hearing all this shit. No, she was mad. Because it's like, I put a hit out on Larry Wilder. I'm like, what? And so I go talk to New Jack, who, mind you, he's bleeding out his fucking hand. He's like bandaging his shit up. I'm like, New Jack, did you kick the shit out of Wilder for me? He's like, because they think I paid you money, like put a hit out on Wilder. He's like, nah. He's like, nah, snitches get stitches. I did that shit for motherfucking free. So
I did that shit for free.
He's like, nah, snitches get stitches. I did that shit for motherfucking free. I was like,
and that's why I love New Jack.
I was like, so that's what Primer was alluding to.
Yeah.
That's the story. Everybody thinks I put a hit out on Wilder. I'm like, no, I didn't. And New Jack was straight up, because I was like, New Jack, they think I paid you money to beat the shit out of him. And he's like, nah, snitches get stitches. I did that shit for motherfucking free.
Respect.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I shook his bloody hand on that one. I was like, bet. So that's your New Jack story. You're welcome.
I love it.
And if Larry Wilder is hearing this, You heard it firsthand, man. He did that shit for free. Any business, dude. Like it was me and my ex-wife are civil. So like I don't know what. Like I get it. It's his sister. You know. I get it. I would do the same shit. I guess. You know what I mean? If I was in his shoes, I'd do the same thing. Family's family. So me and my ex-wife were civil, and we were separated at the time, and all was said and done. She really was dating someone else, and I was with Sarah. And like the me and Sarah thing happened by accident. Her kid would play with my kids at a party. We all met at a party once, and we just happened to know each other. Like, oh hey, what are you doing here? And we kept having play dates, and the shit just happened. Anyway, all right. Well, first off, you've already asked a question, and he's already asked a question. Does Dylan Nix have a question before we go back to O'Reilly, who has another question?
No, because I didn't prep. I'll be honest.
I've
been busy all week.
He's not a host of a show
I'm
or
gonna
anything.
stick this pen up your pee hole.
Oh!
Do
I'm
it
just
match
kidding.
JP. He'll take it.
Well,
JP,
why don't you steal the question from Kevin there in the chat?
what did he say?
How about Harris Country Club, Harris Country versus the Street versus MSP versus EOS?
That wasn't Eric's storyline, I don't think.
No,
No, that was Bob.
no. I will say this. It's none of that. You know, that stuff that happened afterward. I will say I did create a lot of those tags though.
That's true.
Like BRG. If you back at the, I don't know if y'all remember with the Let's Wrestle shit. Like a young BRG was Todd Harris, and I gave him his break.
Yep.
He was the only working Showcase Pro in Massachusetts, and that was the only place he'd get work. No one else would give him work. And I go way back with Chris Blackheart, who on Showcase Pro. He gave me one of my first matches for working for Tony.
Really?
Mind you, he kicked the shit out of me. But I go back. I fucked up. I had it coming. I was green as grass. He kicked the shit out of me. Anyway, I even worked for Showcase a bunch of times. That's how far back I go with Blackheart. But anyway, he would send people up that needed work to me. A lot of schools did. As I said, you need work. You want to work in front of a crowd of 100 plus people? I'll give you some work. Who wants, you know? And one of the people he sent me was Todd Harris. He also sent me the wrestlers. The referees that used to wrestle, the wrestlers. I don't know if you heard of them. Anyway, he sent me BRG, and BRG would always hit me up. Hey, if you ever have a spot, let me know. I'd love to come up. He always just kept wanting to come up. And eventually I kept getting him work. And then he reached out about his buddy Malik because they did a tag called the Harris Country Club. And I said, all right. And right on my way out is when I started giving Malik work. When I was starting to sell IWE, that was the last few months is when I started giving Malik work. Well, they carried over into the new regime for IWE. It's the Harris Country Club. As for the Street, they were never originally the Street because it was Elite Terrell and Angel Cross they were singles guys. I put them together as a Street. I convinced them to do a tag. And that's how the Street became about. The person who actually came up with their tag name was the captain. I had the look in mind. I told them what I needed, what I wanted them to do. They were reluctant, and then they started doing it and realizing it was getting over. Captain came up with their name, the Street. And they ran with it for everywhere, with their whole entire tag career. So I gave both those tags their start. But everything that happened after that was out of me. Like the Era of Violence thing, that was I always used Marsh on and off for years when he can get up here. His biggest problem was getting a ride. Well, Billy drives. So once he was able to get a ride up,
It was the four of us, like just doing IWE shows. It was me, Marsh, Billy.
Yeah. Billy was the way to get Marsh a constant ride to shows. And that's how I was like, I always trusted Marsh's judgment. And that's how Billy got in.
Yep.
He's like, hey, I got this guy who just started working. What needs work? Same thing. Billy needed work. He had gear. He looked good. And he needed work. And I trusted Marsh's judgment because I used him on and off for years. So Marsh rang up Billy, and that's how they got the Era of Violence booked. MSP, well, that's a self-explanatory story. We went over that last time. I will give it to them though. I worked the shit. I feel bad, but my theory was more reps makes you better. So when I first started out, I was doing weekly shows, working twice a night, plus weekend shows. I was working a lot. That more reps gets you to understand and learn better. And I passed that same thing off onto MSP, the Fog, or however, Amber and Jossie, however you want to call them. When they first started, I had them working twice a night on purpose.
Yeah.
More reps made them better. Now look at what happened. Look what happened. They became fantastic. Mind you, they did it on their own. I just gave them the tools and built the foundation. They built the house. But I did it that way. And some people get spiteful about it. Some people hate that. Like, oh, you got to have more reps. Same thing. Frankie Flash is back working shows. He calls himself the Ghost now. Him and I just chatted the other day.
Yeah.
He did the same thing. I'd have him work as himself, but then would have him work under a hood. He's a Power Ranger or a Spider-Man on shows back in the day. That's how he got extra reps to get better.
Yep.
So, but anyway.
I was doing Mason X before Sean did it, and then I was doing myself.
That's because you bought it off me. Remember, you bought the whole outfit off me.
Yeah, and then
I used to be, all the years in IWE, I was always Mason X.
There was so many different eras of sizes of Mason X.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know Eric was Mason.
I'll give you the story. I'll give you the full story from the beginning, actually.
Yeah, go for it. I knew JP was, but I never knew that you were.
I was the constant one for the longest time until Killian took it over. Back in the day,
was one once.
Back in the day in New Wrestling Horizons, Dangerous Donnie who was Cactus, hadn't been wrestling in a long time, and he wanted to come back, but not as himself. They wanted to put him under hood, so they gave him the overalls and the mask. Instead of calling him Jason X, they called him Mason X, so they wouldn't get sued. Well, Donnie left again, so they had John the Bomb filling in on occasion as he'd wrestle as himself, and then would do Mason X. Well, eventually, John the Bomb hated doing Mason X. Hated it. And I, at the time, was a greenhorn and would agree to wrestle twice. I was like, I'll work twice. Cool. Great. So I'd work as myself and do Mason X. And I kept doing that for like ever. All the way through IWE time. I was, anytime you saw Mason X on a show in the early years of IWE, up until I left, I was always Mason X. And myself. That was me. So for the entire 9-year stint I ran IWE, I was Mason X and myself. When I got done, this guy right here, when IWE got rid of me, I think they wanted to bring back Mass Wrestlers Anonymous. Is what they wanted to bring back.
Me and Hobo Joe.
Hobo as Nissa, and you as Mason X.
They took Mason and Nissa and turned it into a comedy babyface tag team. And it was so terrible because we would come out as a dancing babyface mass tag team.
That's because that's what Mass Wrestling Anonymous used to be. You weren't there for the first iteration, were you?
No, I was never there for the original. No, I was there for
No, it was me and Primer. Primer was Jesus Hernandez. And, hey, Holmes, you want to wrestle?
Oh, that's so.
And then Aiden Andrews was the Punisher, and he'd come out wearing a bony outfit with a skull mask. And we were Mass Wrestlers Anonymous, and we were a comedy wrestling group. Like we were like, you know how there's Alcoholics Anonymous? We were Mass Wrestlers Anonymous. That was the thing. It's like we were like, we know we have a problem, but we're okay with it. Like, we were trying to make it work, and we made it work. We did this comedy bit. We come out. I'd be Scary Mason, all serious. Jesus Hernandez would be the funny dancing guy, and the Punisher would be like the little tough guy that thinks he's like bigger than he is, but he's not. Like the Crash Holly syndrome. Yeah. And at the end of the match, after we'd win, obviously Mason X always got the hot tag, and he'd come in and kill people, and they'd win. And after we would go to leave, they would stop me from leaving. I'm Mason X, and they'd always drag me back in. They're trying to like cheer me up, make me happy, even though I'm a big, scary looking dude.
Right.
And then so all of a sudden, I'd try to leave again. They pull me back in. No, you got to do it. And they'd hit our music. They'd be Sharp Dressed Man. I'm ZZ Top. All of a sudden, girls so crazy about a sharp dressed man. And I start doing the robot as Mason X. And people would thought it was hilarious. It was super over. And people loved it. We sold, I think, 5 runs of Mass Wrestlers Anonymous t-shirts. It was super over. And this is, mind you, early years of IWE. So the fact that they remembered that shit and convinced you to buy the outfit off me so that you and Joe could reiterate it.
And we did it for a little bit too. And then
it wasn't getting over though, was it?
It was no, because it was obviously a whole joke. And we were doing it as a squash bit to like put over some like heel tag teams too.
See, the problem was we did it as a comedy bit, and we'd even have the lights, like we'd have the lights go off, and we set it all up with lights and shit, make it look cool. So like when I'm going to leave as Mason, they'd stop me and bring me, like drag me back to the middle of the ring, like, come on, you got to do it. Then the lights would go out, the lights that would dim and come back on, and we'd be all like Too Cool style, and all of a sudden, girls go crazy about a sharp dressed man. And all of a sudden, I'm start doing the fucking robot, and they're dancing next to me. It was a comedy bit, and it was over. They just wanted a squash team, and they figured they could just have you and Hobo work twice.
Yeah. There was a point in time, even between me and doing stuff with Joe, that eventually they would, like, I would do I think I did the King of New England, and I would have my regular gear on underneath the Mason X gimmick, and I would literally go out there and wrestle as Mason in the Rumble, get eliminated, and then like a couple entrances later come out as myself and do that again. And I was like drenched in sweat. I was dying because it was like the summertime.
I think I felt when I had to wear that shit.
And I was like, and that's when I realized, I was like, oh, this was this was
not me. That's you doing it, right?
Yeah, that was me doing it.
Okay, if you go back, if you want to find stuff with me as Mason X, I don't know if there's any up there, but I remember one time me and Ian Griffin, because Ian Griffin, before he was with the Mutts, God rest his soul, he was coming up for me by himself. And we created a tag team, and Lawless was our manager. We were the Towers of Pain. It's me and Ian Griffin. But yeah, look up some Mason X shit. I'll tell you if it's me or not. I'll tell you which one's me. It's going to be older, though.
Oh, yeah. God, I don't even know.
Look Mason X Wrestling and see if that finds up on YouTube. But anyway, after he bought the stuff, eventually when he got done doing it, Killian, I think, had been in a car accident and had stopped wrestling, and he was coming back in, and he wanted to do something different, and that's when he started picking up the Mason X stuff.
My last stint or ever match of Mason was in Dexter. It was me and Sonny doing a dance-off, and under a lot of people probably don't know this unless they were there. Underneath, I'd never told Sonny about this until it happened in the ring. I had a Halloween costume from the year before. It was an adult-sized Stewie Griffin outfit. I had taken the outfit. Oh, God.
That's me.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I think that's me anyway. Play it. That's Andy McKenzie. The Frenzy Andy McKenzie. I think that's totally me. You can't tell it's me, though, can you?
No.
Yeah, you're welcome. The Frenzy Andy McKenzie. It was me, Ian Griffin, and the Frenzy Andy McKenzie. We were the Towers of Pain. We were all real tall dudes at the time. Yep, that's totally me.
Scotty Wilder, short hair. Is that Miyagi?
Yeah, that's Torres.
Nice. Yep.
It's how I know it's me. I could tell from the boots.
The boots. No, never mind.
Could never tell it was me. So that's the whole stint of IWE, the time I ran it, from when it started to the 9-year anniversary show. Yep, McKenzie. Yep. That was all me, Mason X. It wasn't until he bought it off me that someone took it. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to sell it until he's like, I want to do it. And I said, whatever. I didn't care anymore. I took your $60. Was it? No, it was 100. It was 100 because you bought the mask and the overalls.
Yeah. So, yeah, the last ever stint of Mason with me was me and Sonny doing a dance-off. I never told Sonny what I was going to do in the dance-off. All I told him was just to chop me at the end of it, and I would sell out of the ring. And I had a full-blown Stewie Griffin outfit costume underneath. So when it came my turn to dance, I told Ethan to play Pony. And so
that's terrible.
Playing Pony, and I took the outfit that you're wearing, the same outfit that you're wearing in that video, and I stripped down on Sonny and had just the Stewie Griffin outfit on the inside, and the backside of it had a detachable ass. So it was just like an ass.
You wonder why Mason X died.
He died that night, and then he was reborn with Sean.
Well, as you just said, they couldn't tell it was me. So back when I did it, like I did it as a scary character. I jumped the shit out of many little kid in the front row. I went up to him like, I made it serious because I knew I could always do both. I was always there, and I don't have to pay myself to work twice. Right. And I knew you could tell it's not me.
Right.
And I was a big dude. So when I tagged with Griff or Mackenzie there, we were the Towers of Pain, we fit in well. So, oh, did y'all know I was Mason X? I was the longest running Mason X. You're welcome.
I'm trying to find you doing the robot.
That's the early years, man. Good luck.
So, real quick.
That'd be like 2008 or 9. That was when there was Babyface Mason X was 2008, 2009.
Let's see if you remember.
Maybe 2010, maybe.
This was either late 2014 or early 2015. Joseph Von Schmidt.
Yeah.
Randy Walker.
Yeah.
Where?
I remember the match.
You remember the match? Or the whole incident that occurred around the match?
Oh, the flag bit?
Mixed with the hand signs.
Oh yeah. Well, Von Schmidt
I told Big Cat about this.
You've told me the story. I want to hear it from
See, well, Von Schmidt's gimmick is he's a German sympathizer. So he does the whole thing, obviously, from the name, his look, his attire. Well, I had him wrestling. I wanted to have him wrestle someone small so he could throw him around because he's a really big fucking dude. And I was like, Randy Walker has always been my good go-to guy to build talent. He's been always, I call them, in wrestling, they're called carpenters. They're good because they help build up talent.
Right.
Okay. And Von Schmidt I had plans for because he's a big fucking dude. He stands out.
Tall motherfucker.
And I knew him from On Fire because he was on their TV when I was on it. So anyway, he came up with Tommy Mac for a weekend. And I was like, all right, bet. I'm gonna have him kill Randy Walker, which is the drunk redneck dude. Which also I gave Randy Walker his gimmick name. You know what he was when he first started wrestling?
What was he?
The redneck punk.
Oh God.
I was like, no, we'll keep it redneck, and I'm like, we're calling you Randy Walker. And I came up with the Randy part because Randy and redneck go well together. Walker because of Johnny Walker, the alcohol.
Right.
Because he came out with a bottle of either Jack Daniels or a bottle of Johnny Walker. That was yeah, and then he had someone wheelbarrow him out all drunk. Anyway. So the match went off, and the flag that we used to pin up on the wall, we used to put up on the wall for the national anthem, got knocked down.
Yeah.
By Von Schmidt, who was also doing the certain German hand gestures, if you know what I mean, then certain salutes. And there were some people that were in the audience that were veterans of said country that we live in, and they were not very happy about it.
It wasn't just veterans; they were actual redneck dudes in the.
Oh yeah, they're pissed. They're getting pissed that he was beating up redneck Randy Walker, which is probably like their cousin twice removed on their mom's side.
Actually, funny, quick little story about redneck Randy Walker. I worked him at TIW, and Wolf wanted me to cut a promo. Yeah, and Wolf's like, "Oh, I cut a promo before we go out there." I'm like, "All right." So I'm just being a smart ass heel. And he looks at me, he starts to say something. I'm like, dude, if I wanted to hear from a discount Larry Huntley, I'd ask. And he's the only person in the crowd that got it, but he tried so hard not to laugh.
He'd been doing that gimmick before Larry Huntley.
I know, but it was just funny as shit.
I gave him the gimmick. He started it with he came up as the redneck punk, and he came up with Viper the Ninja, the Alden Brothers, and Ricky Williams when they first came up way back in the day. And Randy Walker would come up
too many times.
The thing with Randy Walker is his old job. He couldn't come up all the time, so he could only come up sporadically. And I'd be like, tell me when you're available. I always put you on, man. You're a great carpenter. I'd love to help you on the show. Yeah. And because I helped him build his gimmick, he'd come up for super cheap. And he always was very appreciative and respectful, which I still love him to this day.
Nice dude. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And he would come up, and just happened to be a weekend he was coming up. And I'm like, I got the perfect opponent for you. Because I'm like, you're a redneck in Maine, drinking alcohol in a venue that serves alcohol right next to it, and you're wrestling the German sympathizer. Yep, this has got to happen. And it was heat. There was a lot of heat. I thought people were going to jump in and start trying to beat on Von Schmidt. And we had security people, but I'm like,
Here's the
there's a
thing.
good like dozen dudes that wanted to jump Von Schmidt that night.
The problem is you sent out Godfrey, you sent out Neil, and by that point I look over and I'm like, what are they gonna do? And then out comes you, and all of a sudden that's when they were all just like started.
Because I was busy at the moment, I didn't know what was going on until someone ran back and told me what had happened. Yeah. And so I sent them because I trusted them to go find out to tell me. And then when I heard it was getting bad, I stopped what I was doing and I just ran out there.
Didn't they have,
but no fights happened, nothing happened, nobody threw punches, everybody just got pissy. We put the flag back up. Yeah. It wasn't like it got thrown on the ground, it landed on a chair. Yeah. And like they were just mad that he would disgrace it. And I'm like, it's a show, he's not doing it on purpose. Like, you know, I'm trying to I didn't break the fourth wall, but I calmed them down. They were fired up from alcohol. Let's be real here. They were drinking pitchers of fucking beer out of the pitcher, not out of the cup, out of the fucking pitcher. Yeah. They were fired up.
Which was messed up.
Anyway, it was just messed up, but we got them all. Everybody, they still stayed and watched the fucking show, and they still went and drank with us afterwards in the bar. It wasn't that bad. They want to be badasses, and honestly, I think Von Schmidt could have took half of them anyway. But
dude, Von Schmidt would have murdered most of them probably.
That's why I'm like, I'm not too worried about it. That's why I was like, all that shit. Like whenever somebody gets a wild up, I'm like, just calm it down. Like even Carl, who used to be one of the owners of Cityside with over there, he'd always be there for wrestling nights until he had his heart issue. But he would always be like, oh, like he'd tell people to calm it down. Like there was an incident with Tony. The cops got called on Tony Atlas. And he was just like, are you kidding me? On Tony Atlas? Well, I don't know if we're going to open that can of worms either.
Probably.
Do you want to?
It was a night that Chris Hamrick was there, Tony Atlas was there, Gino Martino was there, and Sonny's out back, and he's changing by all of them because he knows all of them, and they're all shooting the shit with each other. They're all like all the old guys are sitting together chatting to chat, and I'm running around running the show, whatever. And I get a something happened where someone ran out and was like, "You need to come out back right now." Tony Atlas is trying to kill Coach Beavis. Kevin, if you're watching this, I'm just telling the story. Let's just get it out there. It's old shit. Don't get butthurt. So I come running out back, and Tony has Kevin by the collar and lifted him up like this. Is like, don't you ever fucking talk to like me like that, you motherfucker. I'll kill you right here. I'll kill you where you stand. Like, and Gino and Chris Hamrick are trying to calm Tony down. Like, calm down. And Coach, I just see Kevin's little feet dangling, kicking.
Yeah, Tony could hold him up there with one hand, probably.
And I'm like, so I de-escalate the situation, and I'm trying to find out what happened. Well, Kevin was arguing about something, and he was pissed off, and he was literally just blowing up at everybody. He's like, "You can go fuck yourself," and you asshole. Like he called Tony an asshole. Like you asshole, you piece of shit. But he was, I don't know what pissed off Kevin because I didn't catch that part, but I heard that like he mouthed off to Tony, and Tony was in the middle of changing. He's like, "What'd you see to me, boy?" And he grabbed him by his fucking throat and he held him up on the water more like this. And I just remember seeing Kevin's legs flailing. So supposedly, the person who called the cops was Chris Berry's wife, God rest her soul. She called because she heard about it. She called the cops. Cops show up. Obviously, Kevin's not going to press charges on Tony. And the cops showed up, and they're like, "Why are we even here?"
Yeah.
But they wanted to talk to Tony. And so Sonny was sitting there, and I'm like, "Sonny, I got to run the show. You saw what happened, right?" He's like, "Yeah. Can you go with Tony to make sure they don't arrest Tony? I'd really hate to see Mr. USA, Tony Atlas in a cop car." He's like, "Bet, I'll go out there." So Sonny goes out. Sonny's dressed in his work clothes, like when he works at the dealership, so he looks all professional. Right. And Tony's dressed in his gear. So they go out there to talk to the cops. By the end of it, I finally come out to check and make sure everything. Carl, the owner, is standing there. They're all shooting the shit with the cops. Cops are all laughing, getting pictures with Tony Atlas. Like with their phones. And Sonny and Carl are just like wrestling. I asked Sonny if everything's cool. He's like, oh yeah, Kevin's
so
not posting any charges, and everything got dropped. It just got blown out of hand because Chris Berry's wife called the cops, and it's so facto. The cops end up just were excited to meet Tony Atlas and wanted to get pictures with him. So now
That's
we're
great.
getting pictures with Tony Atlas. I'm like, great. I'm gonna go back to running the show now. Goodbye. And Sonny's just sitting there in his like suit, and he's just like, yeah.
That's
And that was the night that Gino wrestled Chris Hamrick, actually. So that's a cool little night. It was a good show. I just wish I didn't get all the full deets still. I still not got the full deets. I just remember turning the corner and seeing Kevin's feet dangling there as Tony's got him up in the air against the wall like this.
Yeah, don't fuck with Tony. I've seen Tony mad one time. And that was he wanted to go home, and he was giving it to Larry, and Larry's backing off. He's like, it's like, okay, Tony, no, we'll get you a ride. Just don't worry about it. Just give us a minute. We'll get you going. Yeah, it was like that's the only time I've ever seen Tony heated.
I've seen him once at a show. This was like an IWE. You know what? It was the last anniversary. No. This was like the around like probably time I was training. I had heard him like yell out while like somebody was locking up, and hearing his voice was terrifying.
Was that the day that Roadblock spit on him for real?
No, I don't. This is a Brewer show. Wait, was that a thing?
You gotta tell it.
We gotta tell the story now.
So
wait, hold on before you say that, Kevin. I am good. I'm a drunk asshole.
It would clear it all.
Thank you, buddy. I knew you guys smoothed it over right before the cops even got there. It just was stupid that the cops even got called. But you gotta respect Chris Berry's wife for doing that, looking out
Everyone's
for you.
hot for 5
She's a
minutes.
good soul. But anyway, back to the Tony getting spit on by Roadblock story, which everybody's gonna love. I'm sure Kevin's gonna remember this and love this story. So I'm in like I remember watching it happen because we had a monitor out back and I couldn't believe it happened. It's John the Bomb and Tony Atlas versus a version of the new Leatherheads, which was Big Gene. You all know Big Gene Bauer.
Yeah.
Me, it was Big Gene Giroux. I gave him his name of Big Gene Giroux. He changed the last name to Bauer because he liked it better. Someone else at Rumble had given him that last name and he really liked it, so he's changed it. But anyway, there's Big Gene and Roadblock as the Leatherheads versus Tony Atlas and John the Bomb. And I think Roadblock was putting the heat on because this was not supposed to happen. Roadblock's putting the heat on John the Bomb, and he's goes to fake spit at Tony, hawks a full-on loogie at Tony, and it hits Tony right in the chest. Tony doesn't even wait for the tag. You see him grab the ropes, get in the ring, just full-on stomp right over to Roadblock, who's in the ring with John the Bomb, grabs him, takes him to the corner. You go as loud as you can possibly hear. He goes, "You want to spit on me, motherfucker?" Brian pans him across the chest, picks him up again by his beard. Yanks him back up. One more time. He does like 2 or 3 times.
Oh my
God.
Beats the piss out of him in the corner. And Bomb was smart. He grabbed Big Gene and said, "We're taking it home." And Big Gene and John the Bomb, while Tony's beating the shit out of Roadblock in the corner, John the Bomb's taken home to Big Gene, and that was the finish. That was not how the match was supposed to go. It went like 6 minutes tops.
Oh no!
Roll up 1, 2, 3. Let's go home.
It was like 5 to 6 minutes.
I feel like I saw that recent. Never mind.
You want to spit on me, motherfucker? Like I was just like, we're all watching from the monitor. Like you see Roadblock come out back. He's just 3 big handprints on his fucking chest. And you can see where Tony had yanked him up by his goatee. Not lifted him, yanked him.
He's lucky Tony didn't pick him up and throw him into the 4th row.
Please tell me this is this match. I might have found it.
If you had found it, this is gonna be glorious.
I might have. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm skipping through.
Oh God, here we go.
You see Big Gene with Roadblock in a tag against John the Bomb and Tony. It's the only one that ever happened. So
okay, this is it then.
I don't know if you hear it, but
actual footage of that.
Hold on. This must be it then.
Come on, share the screen.
Oh, the fan cam, the glorious fan cam.
Shout out to the chat.
It's gonna be closer to the end. You'll just randomly see Tony walk in. There's not even a tag, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, so hopefully I got it right. I'm pretty sure there's not even a tag. Tony just comes in and says, "Fuck it." See, Big Gene in there. Go to the tag. Smart tag wrestling.
Huh.
Okay.
Basically, that was a tag.
Oh yeah, watch. Beats the shit out of him. Hold on, he goes after him again in a minute. Yep. Right there. Oh, spit on me, motherfucker.
Spit on me, motherfucker. Oh my god.
Rewind it. I gotta see it again. See the first shot, you can tell. See, he comes in, he's got some fire in his sprint.
You can
Fuck you, back chops him pretty much. He goes nice and big. I like how he switches to nice with Big Gene, and then like, fuck you, Robot.
Nice work, punch. Robot.
My god.
Robot's regretting life at this moment.
He's beating the shit out of him. Whenever you ever seen Tony just stomp someone in the corner,
The ref is just like,
you pick him up, let it. No, go back. You just pick him up by his goatee one more time. Go back. You'll see him where he lifts him up by his goatee. Watch. Tony never stomps anybody. Watch. He just grabs him by his goatee and yanks him to his feet. Get in, baby.
Hey, boy. I'll beat your ass.
Nope, not done yet. We're gonna take it home now. Ron Baum's like, let's take it home. And this is the finish. Down the Bomb does a spot to now he's going back at night. Down the Bomb. This has got a fucked up ending. Watch it. It looks stupid. The ending looks really stupid.
Yeah, I mean it's
No, it gets botched. It totally gets botched.
He's joking about the corner.
Oh god.
Tony is done with fucking Roblox.
Who is that on the floor?
Oh, Gene hit his head.
Yeah, who's on the floor?
Oh, spit on me, motherfucker. Wow.
Do we want to watch that again?
Wow.
You want to see him get chopped again, right?
Yeah.
And then I love how, like you say, he drug him up in the corner by his goatee. I was like, I remember him dragging him up in the corner by his goatee. I'm like, oh, this is gonna suck for you.
Cat, you need to send
The
this to
first
Ben.
shot, that first back shot, you could tell he's pissed.
You need to send this to Ben and be like, started at this time frame, this timestamp, and Ben will die.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony's like, fuck you. Shoots the tag. No. That's more than enough. He goes nice to Gene, but then he goes back to Roadblock.
It is so nice.
Fuck you.
And he's like, fuck you.
If I ever see Roadblock again, I'm like, go piss off Tony Atlas for me.
Oh, I just love it. Then he yanks him up by his goatee right here, which is fantastic. Like, yeah, come here, you little fucking gremlin.
That's an insult to gremlins everywhere.
How often have you seen Tony throw those type of chops? Like, never.
Never.
That's how you know he was pissed. And then
just chokes him out in the buckle.
he does. He doesn't let him move. He's like, oh, we're done.
We're done.
He's yelling at him right now. He's like, you ever spit on me again, I'm going to kill your ass.
Holding on the buckle.
That's what he said to him. He's like, if you ever spit on me again, no. Like,
I think he says it right there. He spit on me. You know he pissed me off. He said.
I told you.
Oh,
The fact that this footage exists. Now, fact, also, I'm going to give it John the Bomb to know better to take that shit home. Once he knew Tony was pissed, John's like, oh, I'm taking this at home. Let's go to the finish, guys. And they fucked up the finish. All the shit, but at least John the Bomb knew enough because he's experienced enough to go, okay, Tony's pissed. Time to take it home.
That literally should have been a small package, like a quick roll up 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Let's get
I also give him credit because, like, you knew he was like, oh, at least I'm going to do this finish that we planned that Eric booked, and then they fucked it up. At least they knew better. Like, Tony's pissed. Time to take it home.
Speaking of Eric booked Tony shoots, Levi Lexington.
That was not supposed to happen. And Tony apologized both to me and to Amber after that. So that story I built up an angle, and Amber had a bunch of family coming. This is like Amber's first really big match of her career as Levi Lexington. And so we're built. I used to do these TV spots on Fox, Good Morning Wrestling, and we do them like every month for our shows. And I had Amber come on as Levi Lexington and interrupt me and cut a promo to the TV camera on Tony. It was a great promo.
Yeah, well, it was great. It's on there.
Tony actually had saw it and thought it was a shoot. So step forward.
Because of that.
He thought it was part shoot.
I thought it was just because of how they called the match, and he didn't.
No, because he thought it was part. He saw it. He wasn't very happy about it. Like I said, that was a great promo, but he thought it was part shoot. So come time of the of the show, I guess this is after I found out after that Tony thought it was part shoot, because I didn't know this till Tony told me after the match. Actually, I stopped using Tony after a while after that on purpose. He knew he fucked up. He apologized. Tony's never like that. He just his anger got over him. And anyway, the day of the show, I didn't know that he'd seen the promo and was heated. Again, though, I should have known better because it was on Fox. It was on TV. So I'm sure he saw it somewhere. And we also used to air it on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
And anyway, they had planned it so that I had booked it so that the only way it would make sense for me, because Amber being so much smaller than Tony, is that if Amber jumped Tony in the entrance.
Right.
And Tony agreed that made sense. And so that's what we were going to do. Well, I guess because Amber ran out so fast,
yep.
Amber blasted Tony in the back. But
Tony,
yeah. But Tony's the size of a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
So when Amber hit Tony, Tony went, "I don't think so, Tim." Turned around and proceeded to beat the shit out of Amber for the entirety of the matchup.
Obliterated the entire match.
God.
And to Amber's credit, as Levi Lexington, tried to get it back on track a couple different times, but Tony wasn't having it.
No.
Tony was mad. He thought after I guess because he saw the promo, and when he got jumped and it was stiff, he thought it was a shoot. And back in the day, that's what things like that used to happen back in the day.
I remember
So I understood Tony's perspective, and he apologized to me afterward. And I said, "Tony, what? I can't air that. You just beat the shit out of my champ, one of my champs."
Yeah.
He was the junior weight champion.
Yeah. And then
at the time, now it's Amber is she, but yes.
During that time, like when people were talking about it, people thought it was just because of the way that the match was put together, and then like obviously didn't go the way that it was. Figured that Tony was just shooting on Amber because Amber was not listening to any spots that were being called or anything, and that's how it.
I was in the same boat as you were until I talked to both sides, and then when Tony said I had seen the promo. And I thought it might have been it might have been a shoot, and then when Levi Lexington blasted Tony in the entranceway, it made him really think it was a shoot, so he started shooting back.
So yeah, after I saw that,
I was like, okay, that makes sense because Tony has told me of some really crazy stories of back in the day having to fight his way out of bars and shit.
Yeah,
as tests, like he'd get brought into a territory.
Right.
See if he could defend himself. He'd go into a bar, and because he's black, no offense, they'd take him to like a bar that people like that should have been in there.
Yep.
And they'd have people try to jump him. He'd have to fight his way out. And if he fought his way out, he got the booking. And I'm like, oh, so I understood where Tony was coming from because I've heard all these stories from just traveling with him over the years. So when that shit happened, I was like, oh, fuck. I felt bad for Amber because Amber had all family in the audience, like a good 20 people or so, and just watched Amber get beat up by Tony Atlas, someone he watched as a kid. She watches as a kid now.
I remember telling you after I saw that because I was supposed to wrestle Tony. I wrestled Tony the next night. I literally looked at you and I was like, I don't want to do it. I had just won the tag titles with Ricky Williams, and my first ever title. And I looked at you and I went, I don't want to do it. I was like, I genuinely don't want to do it. And then the next night was in Fairfield, and I wrestled him, and he was all cool, calm, and collected, and everything was fine. And it was even cool because like he was chill with like not going over.
And Ricky had worked Tony multiple times.
Right.
The Canadian and the Mr. USA. Come on, now you didn't think I was going to book that multiple times?
Well, it was just me because Ricky couldn't come to the Fairfield show. So
Correct, but like that's like Ricky wasn't going to lie to you. Trav was going to tell you like Tony's nice and easy to work with. It's just that scenario. I can understand being scared for you. You're like,
so I was like,
and
I
then
don't want to die.
And you saw the roadblock incident, so I'm sure you're like, I don't want to get murdered by a Hall of Famer today.
Yeah, I'm watching this on repeat, basically.
You keep watching it, don't you? You love it.
It's so funny. Just some joking about at the end. He goes, "Yeah."
I just like how he interchanged. Like 1 minute he's beating the shit out of Roadblock. Hi, Gene. Takes some Gene nice and easy to the corner, and then back to beating the shit out of Roadblock. I'm like, okay. At least Gene didn't get any brunt of that shit. And John the Bomb, like, I think it's time to take it home. And we fuck it up, but we're still taking it home because Donnie's beating the shit out of Roadblock.
He was pushing so hard to go to the finish.
You could try. You can see he was like, let's take it home because Tony's pissed. And Roadblock apologized, but Tony was like, yeah, you can apologize all you want, but you ain't going to spit for real next time, are you, bitch?
Oh fuck!
He called him a little fucking Oompa Loompas. He's like that little motherfucker spit on me, Eric. That's what he said to me when he first entered. I came out back. I'm like, what the fuck happened? He's like, that little motherfucker spit on me. I'm like, oh, my. Oh, Atlanta. Did we miss anything in the chat? I see a bunch of shit in the chat.
Bunch of stuff from Kevin, just like reiterating.
Yeah,
that's where he spit on him. You found it. Yeah, go back a bit. Go back a bit. That's where he spit on him.
Yeah.
He spat on him right there.
Oh, immediately found it.
One more time. Here we go. Here comes the loogie.
I mean, it's a good heel spot for spit on the main face and come in all like house fire.
He's like, please get out. He's like, no, he spit on me. He's dying. Tony's like, I'm going to kill him. Tony was waiting for the time to get a receipt.
He was waiting for him to be legal.
Wait for this tag, because watch, he blatantly sees the tag. He just takes the tag. He just takes it. Bomb doesn't give it to him.
No.
Tony takes this shit. Watch, Tony just tags it.
What the fuck that tag table was.
Tony's like, tag me. Yes.
We
go. Yes, again. Oh my god.
Hi, Gene. Just the softest little whip.
Here, come over here. No, back to you. Yep, you're dead. Oh, what the hell? Oh my Lanta.
Shoot chokes him after he picks him up from the goatee.
Oh.
He turns him around and he's just like, yeah. If
I get cut off here, guys, my phone is slowly dying.
Oh, no.
I hope it doesn't.
Well, that's okay because I wanted to get into Ring Wars anyway. But I'm just enjoying.
Oh, yeah, I got some battery life left. I'm good. It's giving me the warning signs, which makes sense because we're at the 2.5 hour mark now. So.
Yeah.
Ring Wars stuff. Ring Wars 3 coming up. Yeah, we just had Ring Wars 2, which was you guys were there. Did you guys have fun at Ring Wars 2?
Yeah, it was fun. Oh, do you know what made me so sad though?
You lost the Hypercookie.
Yeah, not only just that. It's like
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
I was like, fuck, I want to see that fucking flip coin. God damn it.
Well, here's the funniest part. I'll tell you the story after that, but continue. But
we get through the curtain. I was like, I think it was 8 minutes, whatever. And you just like, cat. I'm like, what? And you just pull up your phone.
35 seconds.
7:35. I'm like motherfucker. Like
the worst goddamn part. I looked over at Eric during the match.
Hold up one finger.
Eric can test this. I looked at Eric and I did the symbol, and he looks at me and goes, and I was like, 2 minutes. Okay, we can stretch 2 minutes out of the rest we got left. Not a problem. I look at Vaughn and Ray, and they're arguing already. And this is when we're supposed to be going home. And I'm like, guys, there's 30 more seconds of shit here. Come on.
Too late. Here's the best part. So that your guys' match, because everything in Ring Wars is done by a flip of a coin. I booked the matches and I flipped the coin to pick a wins. If you were in the promoters chat for your match, boy, it went back and forth. So you guys won the original flip.
All right.
Crown and Maine contested. They won the flip. Well, MPW got one coin flip, obviously, because everybody gets one rebuttal.
Yeah.
It's my rule. Well, Neil used it on your guys' match. You guys won, but then Neil was being nice because their guys have been dropping like flies. No Wyatt Holiday, no Lucha Kid, and as you saw, Chad Casanova had an emergency and had to leave.
Yeah.
So he gave it to them because he felt Crown deserved that.
Motherfucker.
And Ring Wars.
I wish you wouldn't have told me that. Now I'm angry.
Why are you angry? You should think that's quite honorable, actually.
I
It
thought
is
actually
honorable.
I'm angry because it's honorable.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil was being a good sport, and he gave it up. So.
Man.
I'll be honest, Eric. I said this.
The promoter set's awesome. I love it when the coin flip comes around, and they're all like, "You son of a!" I'll tell you, at the MPW show was the last rebuttal that Randy was saving. The last rebuttal, he had his rebuttal. Everybody used theirs. It was down to Tristan Kyle and Stormy Savage's match. He used it on. And you can blame Turner for this because Turner was like, I got to know, are you going to use your rebuttal? What match are you going to use it on? And he's like, I'm going to use it on the one you used. He used it originally because Storm was set to beat Tristan Max Kyle. Well, then Turner used his rebuttal and Tristan Max Kyle got to win. Well, Randy for Let's Wrestle was sitting on his coin flip and he pushed Randy and Randy's like, fine, we'll do it right now. He's like, right here? I'm like, yeah, right here. So right at the MPW show, before the show, I had to bust out a quarter because I didn't have my toonie that I do my flipping with. I'm like, all right. And Turner let Randy call it. He called heads. I flipped it. It was heads.
Like I said this.
That's why everyone's like, this is fucking awesome. Like, you don't know.
And I'm like, I just want to show up, work my match, have the best match I can have, and go home, and everyone be safe about it. I get some people are about, oh, I gotta win. No, man, just have a good match.
With Ring Wars, it's about the spirit of it. I mean, it's competition between companies, but all the companies are getting along, and because I'm able to be the quote unquote host of the deal.
Yeah,
and I work for all the companies, so it's not like no one trusts me, and they literally see me flip. They literally right in front of Randy and Mike Turner, I flipped the coin for that one rebuttal. I'm just proving the point that it's not about wins and losses. It's about the entertainment portion of it. If you're delivering an entertaining show, people liking it. You saw it. The show was sold out at the Ring Wars too.
Yeah,
it was over 150 people crammed in that fucking room. And that's just what we had sold beforehand. We had 150 beforehand. So whatever the standing room was, you saw the people standing. There's a fucking line to the bar. It was nuts. It was a good time.
When I came out, when Kat and I came out, I literally came out and I was like, where the hell do I go to get to the ring?
There was that one little aisleway spot. I told everybody to come walk down past the third row and then take that turn. But everybody wanted to go the big loop around. I'm like, why are you going? Everybody wanted to walk through the people that had standing room only tickets and get all the high fives. I'm like, you're ruining your entrance.
The pop that we got was so massive. I'm like, oh my God, no one can beat this. And then
didn't beat Brandino's.
Joey Nails.
He got a huge pop. He literally had a section there.
His cross-body spot that I called for him in the opening, where they were all ignoring him, and I was like, "This is going to be a hot pop if they do it right," and they nailed it.
You stole that from you and Jason.
I came up with it then too, Dick.
I know. You said
come up with all the good spots. You guys ain't no creative juices. Let's be real here.
Oh, come on! The dropkick was my idea.
Yeah, I said crossbody. You changed it to a dropkick. Still my spot. You changed the move type. Captain Creator. Also, the other big hot pop of the night was fucking deafening. Was the spear from Brandino to Sandro?
Oh my God, yes,
that was deafening.
I was on the call for that. I was like, oh no!
It looked gross too. He ran him over. I'm like, I was like, let's go.
Speaking of that, I'm assuming you can only get footage from the video, right, that you sell?
Correct. Here's what we do is we do release it later. The DVD is your only way to get it for the first few months, 6 months that it's out. And then the video gets released to the organizations for use. Now that Ring Wars 2 has happened, I've released the footage through Randy. He's going to use it on like Limitless pages, so you might see it on Limitless YouTube. But he's also released it like to Turner for his Unplugged. He's going to use some of the old matches that were MBW related. Like if it's related to said company, so it had MPW and we get it released to Neil, he can use it. He's got to reach out to Randy. That's how I do it. So this way I get to sell the DVD, make a little money. I go on the Tape Trader series that's what that's called. Any of the DVD productions from Ring Wars will be called the Tape Trader series because there's only a limited amount of DVDs that get put out. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, I got to definitely.
So the only way you can get it is either buying it, if there's some available, or trading it. Hence the Tape Trader series.
Yeah, I definitely got to get myself one just because not only that like it was a great match, but wrestling first time in my hometown, that means a lot. So I definitely want to manage to get.
I will let you know. Randy's currently editing it. They did the commentary live, so that saves a portion of it. You just got to edit it and burn up. It'll be a two disc set, just like the last one, just because the video quality is better on a 2-disc set.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be fun. I'll let you. Everybody will know when it comes out because I'll obviously put up on the main Ring Wars page on Facebook and in respective group chats, things like that. You guys will know.
I'll definitely.
You also see it on the merch table. So,
what was your I know you enjoy putting these matches together. What was your favorite match of the night besides Brandino's? Brandino getting involved.
Actually, I enjoy putting all the matches together for Ring. Like I prefer the booking aspect slash with the promoting aspect of it. Because it's where my creative juices can flow, which I have some big plans coming in the next couple months. So, which starts March 14th.
Yeah.
But you'll hear about it, guys. The big thing. It hasn't been done in Maine in some time, but it's pretty cool.
Anything that you can tease us for Ring Wars 3 at least?
Ring Wars 3 has got some really high stakes matches. Can't release anything right now. I did release something today because Jason Maverick won his match at Ring Wars 2. He wasn't for a medallion. It was for a guaranteed match of his choosing.
Yeah,
and today he picked. He made the announcement today of who he wants. The question is, does that person accept? So you'll have to come back to Maine Ring Wars to find out next week.
Hey, we'll play the announcement right here.
Hey, we have the announcement right here.
At Ring Wars 2, I earned the opportunity for March 14th in Fairfield, Maine at Ring Wars 3 to pick any opponent that I desired. And there's only one man on my list. I've wanted to step toe-to-toe with this man for a very, very long time for many different reasons, but one specific.
Big cat Tyler.
So on March 14th, Fairfield, Maine, Ring Wars 3, Big Country Jason Maverick versus the AWGRO Mr. Aiden Agro.
Ooh, that'll be a dope match.
Now we have to hear her response, so you have to come tune back into the Main Ring Wars on Facebook next week for the response.
Hopefully,
it's probably going to be a no.
AWGRO is not a PUSS.
Yeah, I was going to say main character pussy. Yeah.
So here's the thing. There's that. There's also the other match that got announced. That got announced at the show.
You're right.
That was the Pathway versus Alexander Lee, and they got to choose the partner, which was Little Joey Nails.
Yep.
So Alexander Lee and Little Joey Nails versus the Pathway, which I'm actually kind of interested to watch.
Yeah.
Lee can beat them both by himself.
Well, that was the point of the promo. Like Lee thinks he can beat them both by himself, so they made him put his money where his mouth is and say, "Well, let him pick their partner," and they did.
I want to see Joey Nails do a top rope fucking headbutt.
Well, there'll be room in the Fairfield Community Center for that on March 14th, since we can actually have tall ceiling.
That ceiling was so low. I love that. That building's cool as hell. I love that
intimate.
building.
It's a very intimate building. Yeah.
I normally do that step up on the top rope for the entrance, and I was like ducking my head, like I'm gonna crack my head in the ceiling.
My head.
I'm on my head.
I think didn't I say that? I think I said that in the match. I'm like, Nix, watch your head, Nix.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I got up there and I was like,
I can see. No, I didn't know I could hit the chat button here. Hammer, maybe Rat. No. Oh, that's your chat.
Yeah.
That's our YouTube chat.
Oh, there you go. No. His phone died.
Did he hit a button? Did his phone die? I said maybe Rat.
Oh, no, there he is. There he is.
I'm glad.
I hit the bag button by accident. I went to hit chat because my fingers decided to
I was gonna say, at least we got the
Ring Wars before you fucking died.
No, I was like, I went to hit the chat thing. It was just for us. I didn't know that. I thought it was the group, the actual chat that pops in. I went to hit the button and my sausage figures and I ended up hitting the bag button. It took me out. I'm like, son of a bitch.
By the way, shout out to Kaiju Pro in Connecticut. I've been wearing the hat all night. So
shout out to Ring Wars 2.
Thanks. And shout out to Ring Wars 3.
Hairline.
What's a hairline?
We're getting old over here.
I have my Ring Wars hat over there. I don't know.
You guys should get some. I was shocked that the first run of Ring Wars hats sold quick. This one did not sell as quickly.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I'm shocked too.
I know it's a ladybug, but does that not look like the Road Warrior's like shoulder pads on his chair behind his chair?
Yeah, they do.
Was there anything in the chat we didn't hit up? They did it. People asked.
I think we got,
we got 1,
basically.
2, and 3.
I think we get everything actually.
Yeah. So I love the idea of Ring Wars. I think that's awesome.
I'm happy that everybody enjoys it. Not just the fans, but the wrestlers too. They think it's a breath of fresh air, and the fact that everything's done by a flip of a coin makes it refreshing. You never know. And also the crowds come because they're anticipating it to be a competition. But also there's entertainment value, and there is a point to the medallions, obviously, to win the actual event, each respective event.
Right.
But I will give you this tidbit. Not this coming show, but over the next couple shows, there will be titles eventually coming to Ring Wars, since everybody really wants titles. Ring
That's
Wars.
What I was going to ask you. Will we ever see titles, or maybe like
you will? And I can't give out the deets of how we're crowning the grand champion, but you will find out. You have to go to Ring Wars Street to find out.
Since Kat and I have to ask this question, since we are what we are, will there be tag titles?
Yes.
Will there be a hardcore title?
No.
Never.
I was fucking with you. That's just funny.
A, because our shows are very family oriented, and B, I don't want to risk someone breaking it.
But I can do family friendly. Wow. I can do family friendly hardcore.
I am planning the grand champion and the grand tag champions.
Eric,
So,
was in the middle of
I know you can't give that many details.
Jesus.
We are also, I will announce here that I have different medallions for the winners of each event. We're going to award, the first Ring Wars MEW 1 and Ring Wars 2, obviously Let's Wrestle Run. We're going to award those to the respective promotional winners at Ring Wars 3.
Hey, maybe
So I have separate medallions that I just ordered that are coming in that will be given to the promotional leader at the event.
So,
and because of that, we will see what they're able to do with those medallions.
I was going to say, so you probably can't get into more detail of that, but I'm assuming if there is titles involved, it means that the ones that have the majority of the medallions will get those title shots.
Yeah, well, what it is, the winner of the event, they will get a medallion for winning the event. So the Ring Wars 1, like I said, was MEW. Ring Wars 2 was Let's Wrestle. So at Ring Wars 3, we're going to give them their respective medallion for their promotion because they won in the event. With that medallion, they'll get to do something with that medallion, but it's up to them when they use it and how. They can designate and nominate how they use it. We'll explain all that at Ring Wars 3. You got to be there to find out.
All right.
I got to be there. I got to see it. Even
Happy there.
I don't know if we're booked or not. I don't think we are, but I
just come. Don't be like this guy. Be right down the street and not come to an amazing event and miss it.
Sick child with the flu.
Who knows? I think I'll probably definitely be there just because
Fairfield.
Fairfield's a great venue. I love the venue.
There.
I love the venue, but you never know. You like talent might not show
I
up.
might go just to shoot commentary again because that was fun.
I know, you lucky bastard. I saw you on commentary.
You can get on there with Tex Arcana. Jump on
I just
it.
sat down next to Tex, and Tex is like, "Don't Tex, get on commentary." I was like, "Oh crap, okay, what's up?"
Do it up.
JP at Ring Wars is what Kevin.
You can still enjoy it just as much as the fans can. Come, you never know. And see, you should be happy also there, JP, that I didn't replace Lou Jacobs. And then look, Chad Cass, that match was cursed.
It was
cursed.
I would have been in it.
You could have if you can. You never know.
Yeah.
You could have. We had 2 people
Dude,
drop.
I texted your ass too. I was like, "Yo,
yeah, my child was sick, and I wasn't planning on.
Hey, that's a good
bringing
excuse.
The sickness,
And then people were bugging me. Like I should have done. I should have went in. I'm like, no, I'm gonna leave. This match is cursed. I'm gonna leave. Who's in it? Who's in it?
I do see.
If you were there, I probably would have thrown you in there to let you have the spot. But like, also, like, I was like, okay, they're dropping like flies. I don't want to have it. I don't want to even touch this. I'll touch it and blow up my other quad, knowing what happens. This is why I knew I shouldn't have gotten this match. Temptation with bugging me. I should not.
my scootly smooch."
Speaking of that, I do see you're in the on the poster for Ring Wars 3.
I will be competing at Ring Wars 3 by popular demand. People were bugging me that I was not at the Ring Wars 2. I was at Ring Wars 1 because I was sponsored to be there, so I kind of had to be. But
also
Ring Wars 2, I did not need to be. There was plenty of talent. There were 7 matches. One match was a bonus that got added. And look what out. It worked out for Jason Maverick. But this one, I told people I would be there. Front row is actually halfway sold out already. And it's not even been a week. The show was Saturday. And literally by today, I literally only have, there was 52 front row seats. I have 25 left.
Wow.
Already. So it's catching fire. Ring Wars is catching fire right now, which is great. Because it's not just great for Ring Wars itself as a competition, but it's great for all the promotions that are taking part in it because it's getting eyes on them that normally may not see them.
Right.
Or it's getting the point of all these fans from different promotions coming together to watch a great event. And it's companies versus other companies. It's organizations battling it out to see who's the best. Can't get better than that. That's more, how much more video game can you want? You know what I mean?
What I do love is you mentioned the coin flip too. It's not like a lot of times people walk into these situations seeing like, okay, let's wrestle. Everyone knows let's wrestle. Not everyone may know MPW, but MPW's got as good a chance of winning their stuff as Let's Wrestle or MEW
or Crown or
Crown. That's what I said. Crown beat you guys. Like they would have saw that coming.
Yeah,
Nobody.
Exactly. We were literally 2-0 against them.
They keep kicking me in the dick. Why? Why do they keep kicking me in the dick?
Rub some dirt on it.
In the face and in the back with a cane.
All right. My question though is, we can talk about this more off air. Is there a possibility that Purr Sessions could help sponsor Ring Wars?
You can, for sure. Anybody's able. It depends on what you want to sponsor. You can sponsor wrestlers, or you can sponsor a match. Obviously, a match is a lot more expensive. But you can sponsor wrestlers in general, or you can sponsor a match. All depends on what you want to do. And those have different variables involved. Obviously, a match is much more.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're doing well. It also depends on the amount of people. So this way, there's multiple variables. If it's like a singles match, it's probably going to be cheaper. Also depends on who you have in the match. Like, so if you were to have just like a bunch of locals wrestling each other, it's not going to be too expensive. But if you had, let's say, I don't know, you brought up Tony Atlas to wrestle in your sponsored matchup, obviously the pay rate's going to have to go up for the sponsorship. See what I mean, though? Like, you call in a name or someone that's high profile that's done something like, oh, I want to have Anthony Green in this match. Okay, well, I'm gonna talk to Anthony Green, see what I can do for you, but it's not going to be cheap. So.
I'm going to get Shane Douglas right on the phone.
You want Ace? You talk about Ace Romero? Oh, let's get AC Baby up here. Okay, well, you want to pay his pay rate? Fine. I'll let you know what it is.
I know his pay rate.
And some of y'all may get a break because it's me talking to him, but like you're not going to get a huge break because I also got to get something out of it. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting a match, I have to make sure like I am not overbooking either. My max cap for matches is 7.
Yeah.
So
we don't end up in a vacation land situation where we have 14 matches in the show.
The show was done great for Ring Wars 2. Everybody was supposed to go 8 minutes. Half the matches went short, but 3 went a little long. Oh no, 2 went one went on time, 2 went way over a bit, and the rest went short. But the show still ended. It started like 2 minutes off on time. We started at 6:32 and ended at 8:59, and my goal was to end by 9. So we were right on point.
Nice.
So that's only want 7 matches, 8 minutes apiece.
That's redacted pro wrestling to you.
It's the timing is a thing. Also, Fairfield's rented by the hour.
Yeah.
So we have to be out of there by a certain time.
Yeah, you didn't want to go 9 hours into a
right.
Where you actually have a good event.
And get out by 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah. where you actually have a decent main event, but everyone's so burnt out from the last 3.5 hours of wrestling. They're like, we don't care anymore.
Well, that's the thing too. Like if you saw, like people were by the end, like when Tony went out, like what? That's why I left everybody on the second half for a reason. Storm and Nails were the local guys. Like Storm's from Palmyra, and Nails is moved over right down the street, so they had a lot of people there for them, and then obviously Tony.
Yeah.
So that's why I left them on the second half on purpose, so that people wouldn't leave. We still lost, like out of 100%, we probably lost at intermission when we came back, like maybe 10% of the crowd, which is little.
Yeah.
Comparative in the grand scheme of things, but we still lost some. So my goal is to not lose them. And 7 matches is a lot, but if they're all 8 minutes, it's not so bad. We still did a 20-minute intermission, 22 minutes, something like that. So,
Kevin answered this question. Yes, by the way, it still will be a thing. I was talking to Vaughn about it at the last show.
Yeah, and he at Ring Wars, he told me it's still going to be a thing too. He's just it's reworking now because of the fact that they lost a couple people and they lost a venue and I think the only thing they have right now is Van Buren at the moment.
Yeah, they were going to run. They're going to start running out of the old Presque Isle Convention Center, actually the bar area.
Yeah, they were all set up and everything, and they got kicked out of it.
Does Purr Sessions have to sponsor JP to get on the show?
No, fuck that. Purr Sessions sponsoring anyone. It's us.
Kevin can keep asking, but it's not up to me. As you all know, it's about nominations from the company. If the company doesn't nominate you, I don't book you.
That's true.
That's just how it is. I don't book that one. The only people I book are the staff, which is like my announcer, my referees.
If that's the case, I already know the answer. So
that's all right. I talked
has to be nominated. The reason why it has to be nominated is that it's not on me, so that people go, Eric won't book me. I don't book anybody.
Eric won't book me.
The only people I book is the referees and the announcer, and an alternate sometimes. I book an alternate just because in case someone don't show up, I have one. Yeah. But I was the alternate this last show, and I chose not to wrestle. I could have, but I didn't need to. We lost 2 people, but it was all in one match, and we still had 3 people in the match, so I didn't bother. So, like, I'd rather them have the spot than me. I get booked on every show as it is. So the only ones that don't usually work are Larry shows. So, and those are Southern Maine. I'm cool with that. It is what it is. But I don't need to wrestle all the time. I literally wrestled the very next day. In the 2 days the previous weekend, I wrestled 3 days out of 2 weeks. I'm good. So
speaking of that, do you want to talk about your little beef with Alexander Lee at Let's Wrestle?
Yeah, hopefully my phone don't die, but if it does, it does.
Really
yeah, so I ended up like I understand where Alexander Lee was coming from when McCarthy disappeared. You know, I came from a tag team where my partner had to stop wrestling, not by choice, physically couldn't. So I lost my partner and then wasn't able to keep running with the tag belts, which we both had. We had the Let's Wrestle tag belts for the longest
time. JB.
And we were the first. Me and Brandina were the first time ever Let's Wrestle tag champs and the longest reigning. And Alexander Lee was close to that. He's getting close to being the longest reigning. And McCarthy was gone, so it's either A, they had to strip the belts, or B, I had to fill in. And I filled in for Alexander Lee. We were the Vets Club. We ran with that, and then this last show, he blames me for losing the belts. I got hit with a buoy, and then took the classic course finish and couldn't kick out. Obviously, if you get hit with a buoy, it's not exactly the softest thing on the planet. Yep. So he blamed me, and I honestly blame him. I told him not to bring the buoy out. He brought it out anyway. He always wants to bring that thing out. If I'm the classic core and I have a chance to use it when the referee's knocked down, I would use it too. I just got to be on the receiving end. So I lost the belts for the team. I'll take that. But he feels I lost his belt. Those were his belts. Those are his and McCarthy's belts. They were never mine and his. They were his belts that him and McCarthy had as POS. And I lost them. McCarthy hasn't been heard from in forever. He's moved on. And I heard he's doing great and happy for him.
Yep.
I think Ben just didn't move on. He couldn't let go. And instead of backing me up as a friend and doing what needed to be done and supporting me, he got mad at me and blamed me.
Yep.
And that's fine. I lost him. Sure did. I got pinned after I got hit with a buoy and took the high, whatever they call it, the high-low, the whatever move they call, whatever they call it. So it's very total elimination.
Yeah, basically it's their version of total elimination.
Yeah, I got hit with
it's
that
not fun to
and
see.
then I lost. So I lost. Cool. Maybe not bring a weapon to ringside that they can use on you when the referee's down. Weapons, are not. I mean, I get it if you're in a hardcore match like this guy over here. He likes his weapons.
I like weapons.
So that's fine when you're in a hardcore match. But I'm not. I'm old. I'm almost 40. I'm 40 years old. I get hit
Eric,
in the head with
a weapons match with you before you retired, though.
Yeah, when I was younger. Thanks. You wanted me to do that? You want me to do that shit now?
My first ever match that involved weapons was with you.
Yeah, I know. I hucked a trash can at you from one corner of the ring to the other. You're welcome.
He did too.
He's going to try to find it. I literally did. But I was also younger at the time. I literally was in one corner of the ring on the apron, and I hucked it over my head and hit you in the face.
No, you threw it at Ricky.
Did I?
Yeah, you threw it at Ricky.
I had some distance, but I was younger. But my point being is, yeah, I lost the belts, but it wasn't all my fault. He brought a buoy. They used it when the ref was out. I got screwed. Now Ben's blaming me. So Alexander Lee wants to blame me. That's cool, but it's not all my fault. See, I'm on the apron.
Ignore young.
Watch me huck this son of a bitch.
He hucks the son of a bitch. Literally is how it starts. The bell rings, and as soon as the bell rings, he immediately throws it.
The best part is I didn't tell them I was going to do it.
No, we had no idea how it started.
I was like, catch, bitch. You went too far. Go back.
Oh,
Go back a little more. Go back a little more. Here it goes.
Nice. And then
I love how Ricky Williams goes, oh shit, balls out.
Take a gut wrench power bomb on said trash can.
You're welcome.
And you didn't call. I don't think you called it either. It was just right here. You were just like, oh.
Well, you were tiny enough. You could take it. Back then, now, you couldn't do it now. You're too dumpy now. I couldn't do it to you now.
Like 220 pounds.
Oh,
yeah. I had a big, like, nice little like cut on the side of my like ribs from that. Yeah, good times. And then, what I remember is hooking you up to a chain and to the corner of the rope. And
yeah, I couldn't get out. You tied me to a chain to the post, so I couldn't get back. Couldn't help bomb, and you guys took out bomb.
And he was like stuck in a ladder, and yeah,
it was a good finish. That was actually that was Reboot, right? That was the fan interactive show, right?
Yeah, because it was the only match that got a tying vote, so you made the crowd cheer for the winning vote, which it was like between Last Man Standing or
yeah, we did a I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. We did a show for an IWE called Reboot. Okay. What it was a fan voted show. We had the IWE Fan Nation page. And the only way to vote is you had to be on the Fan Nation page. We would drop the match graphic, and much like I did with the Fans' Choice for Ring Wars, you had a comment on the Fan Nation page underneath the graphic of which one you voted for. And we would tally the votes. That's where I stole that idea for Fans' Choice. I just recycled one of my old ideas. And we would put the graphic up like, here's like this who do you want to see this person face? And it'd be whoever the person is and then their opponents. Or what type of match do you want to see these two guys go at it in? You pick A, B, C, or D. And people voted. And it was really cool. It's a super interactive show. People loved it.
See if I can
that's awesome.
With the graphic.
While he's finding that, you want to hit your plugs before your phone dies? You know, where we can find
I got 10% left. Ring Wars 3, March 14th, Fairfield Community Center. Like I said, tickets are on sale now. Hit up Maine Ring Wars on Facebook. Half the front row is gone, so we have 25 left. And then the rest of it's all general admission, which is $15 a piece. It's a 300-seat venue, so we have plenty of space this time, unlike Ring Wars 2 when we're crammed in a little tiny room. There's also an Italian gymnasium, so we have plenty of height, so we can use the third row. I mean, third rope, excuse me. So we have plenty of space. It'll be great. There will be food on hand. Sadly, there's no booze. We don't have an alcohol license. That's the only thing that people are going to miss from the Ring Wars 2 is the bar in the room.
There's no booze you know of.
We can't have it in the venue at all.
Yeah,
I'm being funny.
Yeah, unless we want to lose the venue, which is you can only be limited, like rented by certain people now. I literally talked to them today. I was at the dojo talking with Randy when they called me, and luckily the lady saw that I called and was calling me back. One of the ladies recognized my name because I'd rented there for like I said, 9 years.
Yeah,
over 9 years I rented there. So she called me back. Hey, is this Eric? Yep. Oh, hey, I saw you called. You were inquiring about a date and blah blah blah. Yeah. I just remember your name, and I know you used to rent here all the time. I want to make sure I call you back. I'm like, thank you. So it was nice of them to know that they still remember me down there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm running into now, too, is a lot of people are remembering me. We went postering for Ring Wars 2. Me and Mo Tardy, the ref, he helped me out because he lives right in Pittsfield. And we went out and did some street work. he was putting up flyers and for Ring Wars 2, and someone asked what Ring Wars 2 was and who ran it, and they said my name, and someone was like, "Oh, Eric's back running shows." I'm like, I'm hosting shows, yes. I don't own anything. It's a hosting thing. So when everybody's like, "Oh, you're the promoter of Ring Wars," I'm like, no, I'm the host. This is a competition. There's no owning anything. I own nothing. Like I bring, like I have the merchandise. I own that till I sell it. That's about what I own. I own the medallions until someone wins them, and wants to buy one as a souvenir. Sure. Like I don't own anything. Like the ring doesn't belong to me. The graphics work, I pay someone to make that. So, but they technically own it unless I have a whole LLC thing go on with the Ring Wars stuff. But the Ring Wars label stays the same, but it changes with each event. As you notice, from the Ring Wars 1 hat he's wearing to the Ring Wars 2 hat that you're wearing to the Ring Wars 3 hat that I'm wearing. Right? Pretty dope. The Ring Wars stays the same, but it's going to change. And like I said, like there's a theme with every one of them, which is fantastic. And JP keeps trying to steal Dylan Nix's spot here.
Always on
Um,
But yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come to Ring Wars 3 if you want to.
100%.
Like I said, the only way you're booked is if you're nominated, or like if someone cancels, I can use you as an alternate. Right now, we do have an alternate booked for Ring Wars 3 because I said I would do it, and that's Primer. Primer wasn't on the second Ring Wars; he was on the first.
The alternative again.
So Johnny Primer is the alternate for Ring Wars 3. So someone cancels, he gets first dibs, but you are welcome to come and hang out. And well, we still got the conference room too at Ring Wars 3 for Fairfield. The conference room we're changing, so we got space.
Yeah.
We're not crammed in a little back space there like we are in Palmyra. We got a big conference room to change in. So we got the normal, usual accoutrement of space.
Somebody else doesn't like to pay for that space because they're cheap, but yeah.
I did because I want to make sure we're comfortable. Like that's why, and I do the extra thing. Like I don't know if some of you noticed. Like I didn't with the bonuses. Like some people get bonuses for hitting their time and all the bullet points, and I also do a digital media bonus. With my shows, I do a digital media bonus. I've learned how to use the analytics on the Facebook pages, and it tells me who shares the most and comments and reacts and stuff. And believe it or not, the camera people do the most. I give it up to Cindy, who does all my photography, and Tyler, who did a bunch. They got a digital media bonus. I believe Dylan Nix up here got one too. You weren't expecting that, were you?
No, actually, it wasn't.
Pleasant though, isn't it? You're like,
Here's the thing. I've always said this. If I'm going to be on a show, I want to promote it and I want people to be there. So I'm just going to promote. Every time I see something, I promote it. 100%. It's like, it's
perfect.
It's self-promotion as much as it is promoting the show, because like I want people to come see awesome wrestling, but I want people to come see me wrestle also.
Thank you. Yeah. The fact that I have to have incentives for people to share stuff.
It's kind of crazy.
I must have missed a few because I know I've shared.
It tells me I did the top 5.
Okay.
It tells me the top like 6 or 7. I gave the top 5 bonuses, which Joey Nail's got one. Obviously, he's got quite the reach. He got one. Cindy got one. Tyler got one. Andy got one. I think the other person that got one was Jason Maverick.
Yeah.
Great.
So it just tells you, like, that's why I tell people, please share this. It takes 10 seconds, not even.
Yeah.
Hit the share button. Yeah, and I literally post a link, and usually in the talent staff chats, so that people go, "Oh, I just hit this." It takes you to it, and then you hit the share button. Yeah. Then you're done. That's all.
I mean, I do the same thing with Let's too, or Limitless. It's just Randy's like, share. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt to share it. If anything, it's going to help you. If you're not on being on the show, it's going to give you more crowd.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's the hope. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's the same ideology with postering. The ideology was for every poster you put up, one person sees it and goes. I mean, it's great. It'd be great, but it doesn't work out that way. But that's your hope, And right now we're doing pretty good with ticket sales. Like I said, we're at 25 front row left. And it's not, well, now it's officially been a week. It is now technically Saturday. But like the fact that like the show was last Saturday, and we sold that many tickets between now and then without really the big push on the internet. So we haven't even dropped any matches yet. There's the one match announcement, which we did, which was at the show, which is the Joey Nails, Alexander Lee versus The Pathway. And then you just saw the promo I posted just before I got on the Processions Here podcast. It was the Jason Maverick calling out aggro. The question is aggro going to respond? And I will tell you this. He has responded. You got to wait to find out.
Ooh. Let's see if he's a PUSSY.
Oh shit! We're at midnight. I told you
3 hours.
3 hours.
The clock struck midnight.
I still feel like we didn't hit everything, but we got a good chunk of stuff.
We got a good chunk of stuff.
23.5 hours. Let's go.
Well, you just said you guys want to do one more Ring Wars oriented closer to the date, and I said I'm down.
Yeah,
so
100%.
if you do have IWE questions, you can ask them then. But we're gonna do all that when we get to the Ring War, closer to Ring Wars 3, which would be like the week before.
The funny thing is, we still haven't even covered your Let's and all that stuff going on.
Dude, 21 years. The last the MEW weekend, 21 year anniversary of doing this stupid shit.
Legacy continues.
The Let's
wearing spandex and beating up people for money for 21 years.
The row where you had what? It was 13-0 for the longest time.
It was like 18
the streak.
actually.
Yeah, the streak.
Yeah.
24-0.
24-0. We haven't
when I
covered
lost to Ace and Herman, that was supposed to be my 25th. If I'd won, the whole stipulation was when I faced Ace and Herman, I was 24-0. And if I beat him, I got his spot in Limitless in Yarmouth.
Oh,
damn! Imagine the tournament.
That was supposed to be the big thing, and so a lot of people thought I was going to beat him because I'd been undefeated. And like I was about to take AC Baby's spot, and he's like, "You're not taking my spot for me, no way, no how," because I'd never been to Yarmouth.
yeah.
So like the biggest thing was like I'm taking his spot, and some people thought I was going to beat him. It was legit until he beat me and he killed Dave Dyer too in the process.
I was gonna say we got to talk about that next time because I would love to know
streak.
about the
Streak happened by accident,
and
yeah.
the table spot at the end of that match with you and Ace. Yeah,
that was so painful. If you don't watch, if you'd watch when you get it, when we do talk about it, and you watch the back of the video, the table hits me in the side of the fucking head. It gave me a concussion.
Damn.
Really?
It whacked me in the head. It hit a fan in the front row. Luckily, the fan was all right. Me and Ace took the brunt of it.
I knew about the fan. I didn't know you got a concussion.
Hey, I didn't know you got a concussion.
Table whacked me in the head.
Wow.
Yeah, and Ace was not feeling good already. He was recovering from the flu, and he tackled me through it. The table slid, which we should have had the table a little closer to the ring. But also B, it was not the right type of table. The breakaway tables that you see, like the cheap ones, those are the ones that people use in matches. It was
a door. Why did I think it was a table?
Oh, well, I call it a table, but yeah, it's a door.
Yeah.
It was a door. Yeah, that's why I was
table. We're using it as a table spot, so that's why I call it the table. The table we use is not one of the easy doors you get, like the cheap, flimsy doors you'd have like on a bedroom.
Yeah.
Should have had me supplied.
They're like the door you would have on your front door or back door type of door. That's why it didn't break so easy.
Jesus.
No wonder. They thought it would because we're two big dudes and we're falling out of the ring through it. But nope.
I'd love to hear that.
That door actually survived. So
we'll definitely talk.
We didn't. We were in pain. That's why we were laying there. We were talking. If you ever get to see the video, we were talking on the floor.
See, I thought you hit your head off the floor at first because I was there.
It was a hard thought.
I thought you hit because on my angle,
door whacked me. You
guys went to go to table. The table slipped out, and I thought both you went floor.
If the table had broken, I think the finish would have been a lot more smoother. But because it didn't, it made the match like everything we built up through that match, which was great, went to shit because of that finish, which was super frustrating.
I think it's still okay finish, but they definitely probably would.
Well, the point was we're supposed to both fall. I'll tell you how it's supposed to happen. We're both supposed to fall through the table, and then we both crawl our way to the ring, and we're very Apollo Creed, Rocky Balboa-esque. We're both pulling our way up, and Ace pulls himself into the ring last minute, and I don't. That's how it's supposed to end.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
That would.
After we both fell through that big ass fucking table, table.
Yeah.
Table, door.
Set up like a table. That's how you always say the table spot or whatever. Wrestling terminology bullshit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, guys, we'll talk more about that next time. 100%. Just let me know.
Yep.
So you guys are like, we got so much more. I'm like, it's been 3 hours, guys. We said we weren't going to throw 3 hours, and we went 3 hours anyway. We went 3 hours and 8 minutes now.
I was gonna say we can keep going, but it's like eventually people are gonna be like,
plenty of cutting to do there, Cat. We're gonna cut this into pieces. He's like, I can see it in his eyes already. He's like, oh yeah, snippets days with Eric Jonson. I'll see them all posted like within the next couple of days. Like, why is there 8 videos up of me?
Yeah,
He's like, I got this, and I got that, and I got this. Oh, especially the one with Tony slapping the shit out of.
Yes, that is probably.
He's already. I'm chopping that thing up right now.
That's going to be on Monday, first thing Monday morning. You're going to see that video, and it's going to be
everybody's reaction when you saw him. But on me, motherfucker.
Oh shit! Well, thank you, Eric. I'm excited for Ring Wars 3. We'll definitely have you on before then. We can go over more Ring Wars shit. Maybe
be more prepared. You have a month this time, kids. Come on now.
Hey, I already have my questions. Mr. JP O'Reilly was the one that said that he had tons. Didn't seem like he had tons.
Literally was coming up with shit.
JP literally didn't stop talking.
I know. I'm just giving shit.
Fuck you.
Oh shit. Well, thank you again, Eric. Again, Ring Wars 3, March 14th, Fairfield.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, awesome. I really want to get one.
I hate the fact that Alan Profit's on it, but hey, whatever.
Hey,
it's his hometown.
I'm fucking with them. I don't care.
March 14th.
My hometown too.
Fairfield, Maine. Get your tickets. Ring Wars on Facebook.
Maine Ring Wars Facebook, or you can. There's my phone number is on the actual poster now, so people can text and call me.
There you go.
You have multiple forms of payment over the phone. We can get you.
Perfect.
Also, if you see a poster in the wild, there will be a barcode like this on it.
That's a QR code.
Huh?
There you go. Even better.
QR code, not barcode. But I get what you're saying. I'm just helping.
Shut up.
Right. Well, you know what? No, that's enough out of you.
JP,
shut up, Squidward. Scan the QR code. It takes you right to the Maine Ring Wars Facebook page. Can't get, and then there's a message button right at the top when you scan it. So you pop, oh look, message, and then it sends it right to someone that will hit up, get you all situated for tickets.
Perfect.
So send them my way. Let's get them done. Let's sell this mug out.
Yeah. It's Fairfield. Fairfield's always a great venue. So.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's a reason why, like I said, you guys cannot wait to this announcement at the next show. Like, you got to be there at Ring Wars 3 for this announcement. You're going to be like shitting your pants. You're like, what? No way. I'll leave it on this note. Has anybody ever seen World War III?
There's so many, like the World War III.
I'm leaving it at that. No, that's it. It's only. That's only.
Shit! Wait. Oh no.
Wait, what?
Coming soon.
Wait,
never know. Stay tuned, guys.
What is he talking about?
See you guys.
Have a good one, Eric.
See you next time. That's how I like seeing Nix's face right now. He's just like,
I think I know you're talking
he's so
about
excited. He just came a little in his face.
Do not say what it is. Put it in the private chat. Make people guess.
Okay.
All right.
He's excited. He's so excited. He's like, okay.
I don't know if I'm right though, but it's.
I don't know what it means.
You can ask me afterwards. We're working toward it, but we got to build it up from Ring Wars 3 for it to happen.
Come alive.
So, till next time.
Thank you again, Eric. You have a good night.
2.